welcome everybody to the VL Stellar Division playoffs. We're going to be doing a something that we've hopefully become a regular thing here is going to be I'm going to call it first cast the rest. That's what I called the first one, so we'll just stick with the theme. I know it's pretentious, but we'll go with it anyway. So we're going to have let's get ready to ban Rumble, or maybe 3 or 4 members of us anyway are going to be casting some matches from the other divisions of Vantage League. So welcome.
Testing.
Hey, Tuba's here. We're getting. I just fired the stream up, Tuba,
Nice.
and I was just
Good
doing
time
an intro.
for me to
just doing an
interrupt.
intro. But I wanted to get some pregame interviews if we could. Now the other team is currently in a game finishing up, so but we have with us Monte Carlo Method from IMYordles, or I Am Yordles, right?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask him a few pregame questions, get him hyped for these games. So, did you guys do any prep for these games, or do you have people doing prep, like any kind of preparation?
We're looking at who we don't want to play against.
Okay, that's good. How do you guys feel about it? You think you have a good game plan?
I think so.
That's good.
You don't have to like tabe out the your exact game plan, but
yeah, yeah, I remember that. So how did the regular season go for you guys? I honestly don't keep up with every little thing, so I don't know how people's individual season went. I know you said you had some scheduling issues, but other than that, did you guys start strong or?
So this is my first season playing Vantage.
Welcome.
It's actually my first full season playing League as well. So forgive me if there's a few things that got turned around. I actually play on 2 teams. I also play on Claptrap.
Right, cool.
And so some of the details also got a little mixed up in my mind.
All right, no problem, man. Just do your best.
So I think we had 2 or 3 cancellations this season, forfeits. Either we forfeited or they forfeited.
That's unfortunate.
And we didn't get a lot of time to spend playing with each other. So this is really kind of a surprise to wind up in playoffs. Although to look at the playoff structure, it doesn't surprise me, I guess. But before I knew what the playoff structure was, I was a little confused. I thought, how the hell did we get anywhere? Disorganized season, but I'm excited to be here, and at least it's a little bit of a, at least a little bit of bragging rights. Yeah, I made it to the playoffs.
There you go.
I made it to the playoffs.
So,
that's right.
So did you guys have a strong start and just kind of rode the coattails of that, or did you guys finish the season strong?
I think it was pretty uniform.
It was pretty back and forth.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't really have any dominating stretches.
I say it wasn't like you had like a 6-game win streak to get in or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing so dramatic. I'm sorry.
No problem. I was just curious. Anything spicy cooked up for tonight? You don't have to share if you don't want to.
No, nothing. Playing what we're good at.
That's a good game plan.
A very respectable strategy.
That is underrated game plan, by the way.
Now, Monte Carlo Method, quick question for you. Did winning a 4v5 in normals yesterday help your attitude going into this game?
You know what, Tuba? It did. It felt really good. Thank you for the carry.
Never give up. Never surrender. All right, Monte Carlo.
That's right. So I couldn't actually tell if that was a 4v5 or it was a 4v4. Maybe it was like a 4v4 and a half.
That's good.
Oh, it was 4v5.
Count it.
All of
Count
us
it.
Contributing members, except that poor Leeson who DC'd.
All right, Monte Carlo Method, we're going to let you get back to prepping your team. Game time should be in a few minutes, assuming these other guys get out of this game at a reasonable time. But we'll let you get back to it, and actually it looks like they're out, so maybe I'll pull Ziggy in here for a quick interview.
Fantastic.
All right, thanks for hopping in.
All right.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks. Bye.
We'll see if we can get what's it called? Let me get the Discord link to.
Pretty interested to see what roles these people actually play when the game comes. Because like you look at their match history and like he's a jungle main, but it looks like in all his custom games he's played support.
Well, he did say he plays on a couple different teams. I didn't look to see what he plays on. What's it called? Claptrap. He plays on Claptrap in the
Hmm.
Helio division as well.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just wondering if we're gonna see like some role swaps from what the champ select actually ends up being. Like maybe their team, has certain people who are just better on certain champions, so they switch it up based on their champ select.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, I know Monte Carlo is learning mid. That's what Miner said yesterday.
Yeah.
But he plays something else in Vantage League. I can't. Is that support that he plays in Vantage League? Do you know?
When I look at his match history, like most of his custom games, which I assume are Vantage League games, are support with a couple jungle games thrown in there on like Zach
Gotcha.
and Guani. For the most part, he seems to be riding the Jana train really hard. I mean, that champion is straight up busted right now.
No shame in that.
Absolutely no shame in
That
that.
champion is so good.
Yeah, but when you look at his actual like games played or champions played in ranked, he has primarily Zach games, 230 Zach games played in ranked, 100 Vi games played. So like he seems to be a jungler when it actually comes to like
I'm
solo
trying to
queue.
see.
My favorite game in his match history is the all random rapid fire game where he's playing on hit attack speed Soraka. It's pretty pretty good tactic.
I'm trying
Bananas.
To see.
What is this? We got Ziggy in here now.
I'm trying to see if we can get somebody from their team. Oh, Ziggy did pop in.
no,
All right,
we got-
good. I wasn't
yeah.
sure. I just messaged Todd too. Okay, never mind. We got Ziggy. All right. So now from the wannabe Desperados, we have. What do you play on this team? Support or 80 carry, Ziggy?
Well, I don't know what team you're talking about, but on Wannabe Banditos.
Wannabe Banditos? Oh, it's Wannabe Banditos. I'm an idiot. Let me change this title.
You and-
I even
I don't
wrote it
even
in the
know.
title, too. I even wrote Wannabe Banditos in the stream title. Oh, my God. What is
Old
that?
man Gelati getting senile over here.
Oh my god. Yeah, old man. Oh yeah, you got me. You got me. All right, yeah. So Ziggy, we had you. So you said you play what 80 carry for this team?
No, I play support.
You play support for this team. So we have the support from the wannabe Banditos, Ziggy. How do you guys feel going into this? Do you guys have anything specific prepared? You feel good about your prep, or are you just kind of winging it?
Well, most people in Vantage just kind of wing it, so we're gonna wing it too.
How is your guys' record versus IMYordles this season?
I'm pretty sure we're 1-1.
Okay, so this should be a good match.
Either 1-1 or 0-2. It doesn't matter.
All right, that's good.
It's all playoffs. It doesn't matter. The season doesn't matter.
Whoa.
It's all not here and now.
Whoa.
I mean, what the other day we saw 4-1 in what was that? The Helio division?
No, that was in Supernova.
Supernova.
Fourth place beat beat first place. Yeah. So anything can
Upsets are
happen.
definitely possible, and
So-
you guys have dead even records, so this should
How did
be a
your
good one.
How did your guys' season go? Did you guys start strong, finish strong, or was it kind of just like up and down all the way through?
We're all a bunch of people that haven't played together, so we're all kind of figuring out how each other plays. We, for the most part, felt like we played very good in the season. Had a few mishaps that ultimately ended up losing a series, but for the majority of it, I think we played very, very good. And I think we tied almost every game except for one series or two, maybe.
All right, cool. Last question, unless the other guys got one. Anything spicy cooked up for tonight? You don't have to say on stream. I get it.
I don't know. I think you might be in for a fun night tonight.
All right.
I
We'll
like
see
the
how it
sound of
goes.
that.
Maybe look to spell something out or something. You never know.
Ooh, what will they? Okay, all right, okay.
All right, Ziggs, we'll let you get back to your squad. Thanks for hanging.
All right, guys. Enjoy the cast. Have fun.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so that was Ziggy from Wannabe Banditos, not Desperados. I get so confused. We had Banditos, we had Desperados, we had Banditos the season before that. We had so many different things. So for the cast tonight, because we have a lot of people joining the stream now, a lot of newer faces, a lot of people that haven't been on the stream before. So for the cast tonight, we're going to have 4 people, unless Dan shows up. So we'll say tentatively now for 4 people. We are 4 out of 5 members of Let's Ban Rumble from the Galactic Division. You guys just want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
This is Tuba. I play top lane as well as Tuba.
Got him.
I'm Mayor of Huevos at Jungle.
I am Gelati. I play mid lane. And Khan's just chilling.
I'm trying to
Khan's
fix
just
my
there.
mic.
Just like in our games, Khan's just kind of there.
I am Conrad, and I am the
Ooh.
moving ward for Ban Rumble.
You guys gotta hop down to spectator so that they can actually get in here. Actually, we might need to like drop in re-invite so that they can like shift around because I think Map Brew plays support.
Actually, you do have to remember too that you can't join into spectator, so we do have to be in here. Like we can't leave the game and come back after everyone's joined. Otherwise, we can't.
Oh
go
yeah,
into
I know.
spectator.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll just have to.
But they can't.
swap
They can't
sides to
move.
make sure that they get in properly.
Yeah.
So you'll probably have to drop beforehand. So. Oh man, Florida Killer saying Map Brew's a chump. Ansem hanging in.
Actually, what we should do is like I'll leave whoever plays support for this team. You said Matt Brew plays support.
I think he plays support for this team.
We should have whoever plays support for that team leave the lobby and join at the very last thing that joins. So that because
Yeah, like ideally they just
so we can't.
join in order that they
Well,
actually.
Oh wait, so you said like if you like dropped this and I re-invited you, you couldn't take it?
Well, I could, but not if the whole team is lined up. And so like if you have one person, like,
Okay,
if you have an
so
actual full 14 people in here, you have the last person has to join has to be like one of the players,
fifth
not one of the
player on the team.
spectators.
Okay, all right, you got
Yeah.
it. So we just need them to join in order, I think, right?
Well, it just whoever's like, I'll leave the lobby now, and whoever's the support on their team needs to join like after I join. So the other four can join and switch around however they want to do.
Yeah.
But the support players got to join. Like I've got to join, and then the support players got to join because we have a full 14 people in there. You can't like switch around at all.
Okay. I gotta make sure.
Lobby
Bruce-
tactics, lobby mechanics on point.
Yeah, we've done a lot of this. Damn, we got a lot of people tuning in. A lot of people
Wow,
peeping the stream
yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody.
I mean, when you have a smooth radio voice like Tuba does, people come and listen.
Absolutely. Waiting on mid. Okay. I
If
thought
you're
Cantor
lucky,
did
I'll get
play
out
that.
my tuba and I'll play a little.
Oh my
little-
god.
I mean, it's not a party till you bust out the recorder, though.
Absolutely.
That's true. I don't even actually have a recorder in my apartment right now. That's really sad.
Wow.
You
What kind
call
of
yourself
elementary
a
music
musician.
teacher are
I
you?
know. They're all at school and the floors are being waxed, so I can't get them. I have my toy piano. I could get that. That would be good.
You got insight about these games on a newspaper ad, except nothing but high production LCS casting. Yeah, absolutely. You got it. Oh, man. Florida Killer putting out the deeps in that series last night. Jeez, my man was... Or not last night, it was Tuesday night. Tuesday night, yeah.
That was like 2 nights ago.
He was laying it down. So Canthor, I was telling I think it was Jake and Witness or Mayor of Witness and Witness before this started that I hadn't casted this team in a while, but I casted them back in like season 1. And Canthor had a game where he went like 24-1 or something on Malzahar. So
Was this the pre
no, this was
rework
the
Malzahar?
No, it was post rework, but
So
he
this was like the super busted form of Malzahar we're talking here.
yeah, and looks like we might be getting a sub here. I thought we had everybody. I guess not, but we'll find that out momentarily. And luckily, we have 4 people to riff, so makes it a lot easier than doing as one person. So. You want to split the prize money in ARAM, this Ziggy says. Oh my goodness.
That's rich. That's rich.
Yo, we gotta get this looking like a real Twitch chat. We got some Bible thumps and kappas. Ansem wants to know where the tuba is. He's right here.
Right about here. Or are you talking about the actual physical made of brass tuba?
I mean, we'll see. Wait till he responds. You guys can.
So is Ulrich their last player?
Is Ulrich their last player? Ulrich is probably too highly rated for this game. Alright, wait. Oh,
Yeah,
Ulrich's
that might
playing
just be-
off roll. Okay, so Alton. Oh wait, hold up.
So in order to get
Wait, hold
Tuba
up.
in here, we would need whoever's their last person leave the lobby right now and then get invited back.
Yeah,
Super
whoever's
Chris is
playing support
supporting.
for them.
Super Christ, I just typed. Who has lead, actually? Mapper has lead. Let me make sure we get this right. Commercials. Oh my god.
They call it perfect roll, and it's the latest thing. that
What are
rolls
we
your taste
watching,
smooth
dude?
And makes your eyes go bling. Life Fine presents the roll, rolled sushi, snacks, and more. Now any of your parties will never be a bore.
Brought to you by
That's the perfect
Keo
roll.
himself.
Roll, perfect roll. Go get the
Shout out to my boy
perfect
Keo.
roll. Life Fine's perfect roll.
All right.
Wait, is this sushi?
Alright, you can take it away too.
I would if I had one. Yeah,
Yeah,
unless I just didn't see it.
Yeah, that's the perfect roll. Roll, perfect roll.
Did you invite me?
Come get
Nah, I
the
need that
perfect roll. Go get the perfect roll. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's
full
the
14
perfect
blocking's a
roll.
little tricky.
Yeah, I was able to invite him.
Perfect roll. The trend's called perfect roll. The
Alright,
trend's
hop in a
called perfect
spectate.
roll.
Now last person can join.
Life height. Always a better
Okay,
idea.
so based on this,
Oh my god. Thank you for that. we get nom nom Twitch emoticons too. Oh, that's great. Psychopath's like there's a key change. Why? Alright, looks like we're ready to go here. I gotta make sure I get these sides right because I'm gonna mix that up all game and I know it. Wannabe Banditos is on the left. Let me pull up this real quick. I'll put Banditos and what's the other one? Yordles. We can enable those two.
All right, I
think
even
we're good to
set
go.
up my pop filter so I can say peanut butter without
Oh, that's beautiful.
air in the mic.
That's beautiful. You know what else you can say?
What else?
I'm very curious. what else you
Providence,
can
Rhode
say.
Island.
Wow. Providence.
Principal.
Pretty much P words is what we're going with.
Or
Correct.
B words. Any of those plosives.
What is this?
So do we expect anything weird coming out of picks and bans here, or do you think we're gonna see like the standard, like Maokai, Zach, Cho'Gath, stuff like that?
What's the differential? Gold 1 to Gold 2 is like not a loss of ban, right?
I thought it was two
It's
divisions.
2 divisions.
Yeah, I've been quickly scanning these teams, and I don't see any. As far as I can tell, there's no real like one-trick pocket picks that I've seen yet.
All right, so maybe we'll see some
I'm
meta
expecting
stuff.
some pretty standard ban,
All right.
but also it does seem like they tend to roll swap a decent amount.
Oh, and it looks like Monte Carlo Method is playing jungle, not support.
So
Yeah.
we have... The chat says there's a really good chance we see top lane Bard, and knowing how good Macaru's Bard is, I'm not gonna rule that out. I don't know how possible it is.
I mean, that's an actual pick. Like, you can actually play that.
It's pretty good against melees, right?
I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised to see Tuba die first blood to it. So
Yeah, you know,
That's
if there's one thing I die first blood to, it's everything.
Oh my. Should be getting into lobby momentarily. I don't know a lot of these names. I recognize a lot of them. Benaya Lionponer, or Denaya. I'm just gonna call him Lion Owner, or Benaya. We'll say Benaya. Benaya Vance, Todd the Destroyer, Whoppy Floppy, Ziggy. Who else?
Floppy Floppy.
Whoppy Floppy's a great name. Just
That's a
saying.
solid name, yeah.
It really is. It's rock solid, except it's not. It's Whoppy Floppy, but you know.
Mm.
He did die 3 times to Maokai and Lane, Keffa. Handsome says to you too.
I don't doubt it.
You are not wrong, sir.
I don't doubt it.
So,
I mean, if there's one thing I've known from the few years I played with Tuba, is there's 2 constants playing with him. He will feed in lane. He will carry the game.
That's the Tuba surprise. Tuba surprise is when you give first blood in lane, but then you end up like 10-1.
I've never before in my life seen a master tier top laner get first blooded solo to a silver Jax.
just all the time.
I believe it. Disrespect.
Just try to give him the old boosterino. I think we're good to go. Let's fire it up. Should be getting into draft. So you guys said you looked and you didn't see any particular.
I mean, I expect a Zac ban because both their junglers seem to be some sort of Zac man, or have played Zac at least eventually.
Also, Zac.
Monte Carlo, I would pose him as a Zac one trick based on his champion played.
Okay.
He also is very new to the game, and not in a bad way. Like, I played with normals with him yesterday, and he played perfectly well. But that means that he's probably trying out a lot of champions for the first time, like as he's trying out new roles.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't pin him as a one trick necessarily.
But I mean, it's probably, to be honest, he said this is his first season actually playing.
Yeah,
So he probably only has so many champions.
totally. Yeah.
That's a real thing. Misfortune ban command. Misfortune in this level of play is extremely potent. And
Oh, I mean, yeah, in the the bronze to like maybe even like high gold,
Yeah.
Misfortune is just probably one of the better 80 carries.
especially with the lethality items being pretty good on her again. Caitlyn.
That being said, what is that item on support that's super popular right now?
Ardent Sensor.
Ardent Sensor, yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Ardent Sensor is wildly popular right now. I know, well, I guess Monte Carlo was the one that was playing Janna a lot, but I have to imagine these supports will probably be on an Ardent Sensor support. And MF isn't really, buffed that much by Ardent Sensor.
That's true. That's a good point. None.
It looks
of
like
the
we have
Ardent
all
Sensors-
3 of the hyper tanks open right now.
and the Ardent
Yeah.
Sensor supports too. Janna, Soraka, Sona.
Yeah, so we might see a pretty high powered game here.
And if Monte Carlo, has a very limited jungle pool, the fact that Zach got through and
I mean, it makes sense
getting
here.
it-
You pick like Zac Janna. That's just the bet. Like in my opinion, that's what you hear. But
Yeah, it's hard to argue against those 2 picks.
Looking like
the thing is though, like, do you think they're like it looks like they're
There's
just
the
picking
Zac,
itself
yeah.
right now instead of maybe like picking trade.
I mean, certainly nothing wrong with picking Narzak right here. That's a strong first
Yeah,
two
I mean,
pick.
Nara's actually pretty decent into Maokai too, if I remember right, assuming that
Totally,
it's a Maokai
yeah.
top lane.
the other thing to
But with-
remember also is like, and I don't mean to like downplay this at all, but like I mean, most of the players in this game are ranging from like high bronze to mid gold.
Yeah.
So you are going to see a little bit different than what you would normally see.
Yeah, I imagine the
comfort
pick ban
picks.
strategy is going to be a little more,
Yeah.
a little more linear.
Yeah. Also, like you're
Um,
going to see more like teams just picking like a team comp that they are comfortable with. They're like
Or just
they're going to
picking-
pick for comp. They're not going to pick.
Or I think they're more likely going to just pick champions they're good at and know how to play.
Exactly.
The only thing I don't necessarily like about picking something like the Gnar here is you don't know right now where Maokai's going. I personally think Maokai is a way better jungler.
Yeah, I was
top
thinking
laner.
the same thing.
So it makes sense that it's most likely a jungler. So picking the Gnar leaves them open to counter. And especially in the lower division, lane dominance is way more beneficial than playing for comp.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Oh, totally. And I think like picking comfort champions, if you're like a silver or gold player, there's absolutely nothing wrong with picking a comfort champion. I think sometimes people give advice to low players and tell them to play meta champions, when in reality, like if you're going to be playing to a higher level on your comfort champion than you would on a meta champion just because it's meta, then go for the comfort champion. Be comfortable, know your limits, and you'll play better and feel better.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, like, how often do you see master tier 1 tricks who are playing stuff like Teemo and Heimerdinger? Like, those are by no means meta champions. They're no means good champions.
But you
But
see the one
a
tricks
player
pretty
who knows that
frequently.
champion in and out will be able to beat a player who is just decent on a meta.
Totally.
Yeah. The Azir ban?
Shout
That's
out to
top of the
Ivan
shit.
Pavlov and Heimerdinger.
Yeah. Con, Lucian Thresh, how do you think that's positioned in the bot lane right now? Also, another question, is it possible that that's like a Veigar support?
Oh, it's possible. I would think it's more mid, though.
I would agree with Jake. I think the Veigar is probably going to go mid. I don't think it'd be that fantastic against Thresh and Lucian. I mean, it's like a risky pick because if you can't get the baby cage off, then and you get hit, you're pretty much dead. I think Lucian and Thresh, especially at the moment, is a pretty impressive lane because you can pretty much just all in from level 2 and just have complete control of the lane. Plus,
Especially
I think
with that
Thresh,
Jinx pickup right there.
If
Yeah.
it's Veigar mid, I really like that that team has picked their own champions. Each person has picked their own champion.
Yeah.
Like no trading. They're just
Yeah.
going for it. I respect that.
Zig's another really, really powerful pick in really pretty much all ratings.
I mean, Ziggs is he's just all around like a solid champion.
Yeah, he's good.
He's generally never like straight up OP. He's generally never not just unplayably bad. He's good at what he does, and what he does can, he can turtle really well. You cannot push a Ziggs, can't take a tower that a Ziggs is healthy enough to protect.
Kind of helps out with the lack of C. Like Lucian tends to have a little bit of trouble, like not as much as like Sivir and Vayne at sieging towers, just because he's low range. So kind of helps out on that front as well. Rounding out this drift with a Leona Jinx bot lane is like kind of semi old school.
It's a little it's a level 6 like bot lane. Like you play for the level 6 all in. With that said, I definitely give Lucian Thresh the 1 through 5 there. And if the Lucian's on point with his flays, Leona's not gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah, so we got that.
Or the Thresh is on point with his flays.
We have that factor. We also have both teams have good engage and good follow up, like multiple engage tools. You have Thresh Hook, you have Maokai Twisted Advance, you have the Kled Ultimate, you have Gnar Ultimate, Zac Elastic Slingshot, Leona Ultimate on the other side, and Veigar E as well, the Baby Cage or whatever it's even called, Event Horizon. So a lot of tools on both sides.
Curious, it looks like Ziggy's playing jungle actually.
Yeah, like I said, I was expecting a decent amount of like lane swaps, and because that's just what I've noticed when I was looking over the match histories. Is a lot of these people tend to play for the champion more so for their role.
Interesting.
With this team comp, I get, like, if this game goes to like 30 minutes and on, I give this to what is Yordles is the
Yordles is
the
on
red
the
team.
right,
Yordles,
yeah.
red
Yeah, I would give team fighting to Yordles. Their team fighting is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, huge front line for Jinx, and actually
And-
Veigar helps to get the resets flowing really quickly too. So, provided all risk can stay safe, Which
Yeah.
I mean, he has a big enough
Banditos
front line in
wants
front of him.
to, ideally Banditos, they want to turtle under towers, push when they can and get picked.
I don't know if they even want to
No,
turtle.
I wouldn't say
they-
turtle. Like that might be like they have the ability to turtle. They kind of want to go for picks more than anything, though.
Yeah, they don't want a 5v5. And they have the
Picks and then
ability
push
to
up their waves because Ziggs will take towers and make up for them having to get things that'll allow them to get towers really quickly compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
I really like pairing Ziggs with a short range AD carry because
Yeah.
Ziggs really can take towers really efficiently. Something that Lucian struggles a little bit with. If you're Lucian and you're short range AD carry and you try to go up to take some tower shots,
Especially against Vhagar.
especially against Vhagar and Zac and Leona, like those are champions that can shut a Lucian down if he tries to hit the turret ever. And Ziggs kind of fills in that gap.
One neat thing to point out about this draft is all of the Ardent Sensor supports were left open and none of them.
That's a good point. I mean,
So
very
do
true.
we think that none of these supports are actually like going to play those types of champions, or do you think they just they saw their comp and went for that?
Yeah, it's tough because you have the hyper carry and Jinx on Yordle's side. You have a big front line. You have Engage already, and they last pick Leona, which you have to believe is like too much of the same thing, kind of like they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, to me, I think don't get me wrong, their team fight is going to be pretty good with Leona. The Leona is going to provide a lot of extra damage and potentially a lot of peel or lockdown, whatever they end up needing.
Sure.
But in my opinion, you put a Janna in there instead of a Leona. The Maokai, like the Janna can peel the Maokai, can peel the Kled off the Jinx if need be, as well as provide that Ardent Sensor, which is just an absurdly broken item right now.
yeah.
True. But you do have to keep in mind, like, this is silver gold. There's not going to be perfect front to back team fighting. So maybe someone like a Leona who can just have that second engage button is a really useful thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
first
and-
engage could miss. Like, never rule that out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep, and one thing to keep in mind with Leona has so many different types of CC. Like you miss your first engage, you do have extra types of engage, and champions like the Janna, the Nami, they kind of require a certain level of trust in your team to be able to carry you. Which, in our pregame interview with Monte Carlo, they kind of said they haven't played much together. They're just kind of trying to figure it out.
yeah.
So maybe that level of trust isn't there between the support and the AD carry.
I mean, you can maybe. I mean, Khan could probably chime in on this too, but prospects of Leona as like a bodyguard, like a peel, like in the vein of like Alistair, like not necessarily using it for engage, but for protection.
I actually don't think it's that bad. I actually think it's not ideal, obviously, because you want to engage, but since they have so much engage, she would be pretty good. I mean, even pairing that with having Vhagar as well, since Vhagar isn't really going to be initiating with it, that peel for him and for Jinx will make it very hard on a lower range team comp like theirs.
I will also
There's
add
a little
though,
bit of an
that,
invasion in here.
playing a champion like Leona has a certain amount of temptation involved in it, and it's really hard for some players to remain calm and remain with their back line when they could just be jumping in with the front line. And so like playing a champion like Leona is kind of like playing like a champion like Malphite, where you can peel, but it's really tempting to just go in, and sometimes it'll be curious. I'll be curious to see if Leona ends up doing more of a peeling role this game, or if she ends up just frontlining with Gnar and Zac.
Well, another cool thing with Leona is being able, like, they'll be able to pair all their CC on top of each other because you got Zac jumping in, Gnar, obviously. So they'd be able, if they luck out and get onto the carries, they can just chain CC. So
Yeah, I was actually just thinking the same thing. Like, if you have like a Zac elastic slingshot land on two people, followed up by like a Leona ultimate, followed up by Zac, like if he channeled the ult right away, the Leona ult's gonna keep them there. You can pop them backwards, and then Map Root might have Super Gnar by that point. It's like, holy cow, this wombo combo.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And if somebody doesn't die to Vhagar ultimate and Dark Matter and Jinx getting resets by that point, then I'd be shocked. Even
And
if
Yeah,
they
and
call-
the nice thing about this Wombo is, like, Gnar is a tank, but he does a lot of damage. Like, he is a bruiser. He's not just a tank.
Yeah.
The Leona provides a lot of bonus damage. Like, it's a surprising amount of bonus damage that
Yeah,
Leona's
true.
lies with their ultimate. So, like, they have what you could possibly say is too much CC, but it's not at the expense of damage. Well,
Another thing to think about too is like, outside of like Kled ults or like a flash twisted advance, like I don't see a good way for anyone to get to Jinx or Veigar for that matter.
no, I mean, like I said, Banditos ideally is looking to try to control the game with vision and then go for pick. Because aside from like a miracle thresh hook or a good pinch, they don't have a really reliable form of engage, and they don't really have the team fight that Yordles has.
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't really get a chance to go over, but let's do predictions for this game. Khan, go ahead.
I think it's probably going to go to Yordles. I think that their team comp's a lot solid, but the 2 tanks, 2 hyper carries, and then I would consider Leona more kind of a utility. But being able to have all the CC and whatnot, plus amplify the damage, I think that as long as they're playing it smart and not getting picked off continuously, they should be fine to win this game.
Tuba, what do you think?
My vote's also Yordles. I think it's like they call Bronzodia, like, but I got a lot of respect for just Wombo team fights, and I think it's a lot easier of a play style. I think the team comp that Banditos has is a little trickier, takes a little more finesse, and so I think Yordles has an advantage there.
Mayor, what do you think?
I give this one to Yordles, but I'm going to preface that with this game. I feel like this game is going to fall entirely on how the bot lane perform, because Thresh Lucian has a real good ability to punish the Leona Jinx in the early levels. And I think if the bottom lane of Banditos can get ahead, they have a serious chance of winning this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Yordles as well, but I think if you look at the way both teams can win, I think if this is just like an even game or ahead, I don't see any way Yordles loses this. However, I do think if the Kled can get ahead and become a split-pushing threat, I think we give a lot of credit to, like, you know, clean Gnar play, but unclean Gnar play can kind of sometimes result in just deaths that shouldn't happen. So I am going to go with Yordles, but I do think if Kled gets ahead, it's going to be...
I will say I don't like the jungle start by the Maokai.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Like, just it's so much faster to start blue buff on Maokai, because the blue buff takes extra magic damage. You don't really need, like, you actually don't need a shot Maokai to kill the buff. And
you know, I actually didn't know the blue buff took extra magic damage. That's interesting.
Yep.
Red
Blue
takes
buff
extra
has
physical.
red has, I believe, no armor. Blue has no magic.
Huh, I actually never knew that.
Yeah.
And what do you think about Zach going to Gromp immediately after blue?
That's usually that's not the fastest path, obviously. So like if he's looking to do a gank, he's gonna be really far behind.
But if he's looking to do a full clear?
Yeah, it for Zach, he does clear Gromp faster than a lot of other champions because of the percent-based damage on it, though, which he can kind of spam. So if he's not looking to gank, I think it's the right path. Looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a fight here in the jungle.
Yeah, Zach does drop down the safety ward there and sees Maokai, which is a big deal. If he didn't see Maokai coming in there, he could have been in trouble.
Yeah, right before that, we had a hook land. The Lucian Thresh beat the Jinx Leona to level 2, landed a hook onto Super Chris's Leona, and put a lot of damage down. Had to get a potion out of it.
I do like that parting out the Leona in this lane, because the Leona's really going to be the factor that carries this lane. If you get the Leona to the point where she's too scared to actually try to, do something, then you've won the lane.
A lot of damage
Is
coming
this
in.
gonna be a kill?
Flash coming out from Ziggy.
The Zach passes.
Zach passive is getting popped in top lane.
This should be first blood here.
Cantor also barely survived in the mid lane, so first blood is going to go over to the Banditos onto Ziggy's Maokai.
Pretty patient play coming out there from Ziggy. Gets seen by the ward.
Oh, it looks like he might be waiting there. Oh no, he's going to clear
He's
the
gonna
red
take
now.
the red buff.
Do you think a boots start on this mare? Or boots first back like that after getting first blooded? Yes, no.
I'm gonna guess he's gonna try to make up for losing his early jungle there with ganks. So he's gonna try to force down some sort of he's gonna try to force some gank in either top or bottom of that.
See, Zach, not traditionally somebody you see boots on early.
Yeah, so if it was me, I would still go with maybe the next jungle item or something. But he's probably thinking that if he's lost his camps, there's not going to be much he can do. He's going to try to be able to move around the map and then elsewhere.
A lot of action actually going on. A lot of really aggressive trading in all these lanes. Top lane all in coming in here. Mid lane all in coming in here. Bot lane all in. Also, all 3 lanes all inning. Looking like.
This is without junglers.
Good luck, cameraman Gelati.
Yeah, looking like Benaya barely got away from top lane. Canthor lived through the mid gang, and
Flash comes
still
out of
fighting.
Thresh.
Ulrich flashes out. Ziggy, there comes the heal. Leona did not receive that heal. Looking like there's going to be some focus fire. Leona flashes out as well on the bottom, and somehow all 3 lanes. Nothing going to come of all that except a bunch of summoner spells.
It seemed like there was some miscommunication on what they actually wanted to do there. Because you have Thresh there attacking the Leona the entire time while Lucian is going after. I mean, they might get nothing done regardless because Leona did have Flash and did end up using Flash in the end, so maybe she just flashed it sooner if that's the case. But
all 4 summoners used on the Yordle side, and only 1 used on Banditos side.
yeah, that's
So a big
good trade.
win coming out of there. A kill's nice too. A kill would be nice too, but getting the 4 summoners could turn into something nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important that that might have resulted in a little bit more of a positive engage for Yordles had Leona actually received the heal, because she could have gotten the movement speed and the health and gone back in on that potentially, but she was way out of range, which can sometimes happen with Leona. Maybe Khan, I don't know if you want to comment on this, but there's a lot of times in 2v2 situations where the support gets way too far out, or the AD carry gets way too far out.
Yeah, but I mean I think they hit hook on Leona, and she flashed and then just was out of there, and then whatnot. So Leona was kind of just left for dead pretty much by that point. So, but I think holding on to his flash until the very end was at least smart for him.
Yeah, Benaya actually hit 6 with a huge minion wave while Matt Brew is still 5. It looked like it was going to be a potential ult, but he opted out of it. Lots of follow here. Jumping around. Zach just hits 5. Ziggy, on the other hand. Oh, let's see, now they're backwards. They didn't get in lobby straight, so now I'm trying to use the push button navigation. It's all out of
It's a
line.
little harder.
Oh no.
Looks like Ziggy might be going for a gank down bottom lane.
So Ziggy is about 3/4 of the way through.
This is a good
You
gank.
see him in
They
river.
can convert something on this, but with no summoners bottom lane.
Oh, and nice hook on Jinx.
Jinx, that should be Jinx for sure. Maybe
This should be a
Leona
double
right
kill.
No summoners on Janna.
here?
Vance has to make sure he didn't take tower.
Good on Vance knowing turret range there too. He dashed right up to turret range, but didn't take a turret hit.
Good discipline, and that's going to be another kill for Ziggy and a kill onto Vance. Good making sure that Vance actually gets the KB on that as well. So looking at the farm across the board here, pretty even. Ziggy going to be slightly ahead, I think, right now, just from the kills. Start the dragon, but it is warded.
I think, in my opinion, they waited to go on and try to do that dragon. It seemed like there might have been some miscommunication. They might still get it here. It looks like Ziggs is converging down on it, but this is a fight that you want. They just used a lot of the summoners.
Canthor just deletes Todd the Destroyer Ziggs. A lot of damage.
Probably gonna be their Drake now too, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dark Matter's just barely moving Ziggy.
Yeah,
Here comes the sacrifice.
that right there. They needed to either decide, are we pushing the lane or are we going?
Ooh.
Flash coming in from Gnar, aggressive play, but doesn't look like anything's gonna come out of it.
Oh, almost gets the
Oh,
house.
almost got it.
Almost got them.
Wow,
Wow.
nice snipe
Oh,
there.
it does not get the kill.
That was
they're gonna get the
surprisingly
red buff,
close,
too.
actually.
That was a blind boulder over the wall and almost gets him.
About it. Looking like they're gonna take Ocean Drake and the red buff. Ocean Drake really, really powerful on a team that wants to scale like this. And especially with a lot of aggressive trading going on, that's definitely gonna benefit Yordles.
Yeah, especially the team with Zig really wants to do well because I mean, right now they're ahead, so it's not a big problem. But if they ever do get behind and find themselves needing to defend towers, being able to regen with Zig is big.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a double
This is a
swing
good-
too.
Also, the red buff on Jinx is going to be really good for the lane.
This is a good reminder to people that if you get the chance to do an early dragon, and you know you got to make sure your damage is on the dragon as well. In that case, in that case, it was Maokai and Thresh trying to do the dragon before Lucian and Ziggs got there, and the dragon didn't go down in time and ended up giving it over.
Yeah, they could have easily done the dragon. They had a split decision there. The Maokai went up to try to get more vision in the enemy jungle. The Lucian stayed to push the lane, and then after all that was done, they then tried to do dragon. Where if they just go to do dragon right away, they'll get the dragon, they'll get out, and nothing is lost.
Yeah, Vance had already recalled, and Todd the Destroyer wasn't in. Oh, I mean, Todd the Destroyer I guess could have been there because Camper had recalled as well. So I mean, yeah, like you said, they needed to make that decision right away, and it was a split call. Like Benaya, I'm just gonna call it Benaya. Benaya. Just say Benaya. Benaya, kind of. I mean, Nara did get the teleport play, but Benaya's building up quite a lead, and as we kind of discussed a little bit, that is one of the win conditions potentially for Banditos. Zach's gonna gank here. Misses the elastic slingshot and the Q. Nice data there about Benaya. Benaya looking pretty solid so far. Already has that Tiamat. It's gonna keep this Nara shoved for maybe two, but you can comment on this and how that matchup goes. But like I feel like once Kled gets that Tiamat,
It's good on Benaya to have a CS lead early. Nar being a ranged champion makes it hard for a melee champion to CS early, but
gonna miss here.
it's good. Ooh, nice. Nar comes ult, Flash comes out of Kled there.
What Jinx ult just missed too.
Yeah.
That could have definitely changed that fight. Actually, that almost definitely would have been a kill, I think. Smapper would have been able to go in on that. We've got a 3-man looking potentially for a dive here. Ziggy finds Monte Carlo within the jungle. Just Zach. Zig's damage comes out. Zach pulls him back toward the tower. Not quite in range.
He might. This should be Zig's
Ooh,
also,
going to
right?
be a dive
They're gonna be
there.
diving this, but
Zach
Rygar's coming
Vasquez
too.
is up again, right? Yep. Zach
Yeah.
Vasquez is up, but it looks like this has got to be 2 kills.
Ziggy taking way
Oh,
too
Ziggy's
much
taking
tower
a lot of
damage.
power damage.
Oh, is he gonna get out?
Oh, he is out though.
Directed cameras. Now the Kled ult
Kled ult
coming
comes
in.
Kled passive back up. The
Ooh,
dive
they
should be.
might trade 2 kills back here, though.
Looks
He
like
is not
that-
because
No.
dismount drops aggro,
Yeah.
and it's really frustrating.
and that will
Yeah,
be
like, they have
first
such
turret for Banditos as well.
Banditos has a pretty incredible dive because they have 2 different ways to reset tower aggro with
Totally.
the Maokai and the Blood.
That was reasonably well executed considering Cantor popped his flash toward the end of that, looking to
Sure.
buy a couple more auto attacks, which he did, but the dismount.
Yeah, good on Canthor for getting the 1-for-1, but of course he had already lost a teammate, so the 3-for-1 in total.
Cantor actually already done with this Morel and Omicron. I didn't see him just bought that. I actually never mind. He just bought it. Never mind. That's it. Farm got a pretty reasonable, 2 minion wave lead in the top lane. Hook coming down onto Super Chris, and looking like
Just getting some damage down.
Vance and Wappy Floppy deciding against going too hard on that. I always want to take as many opportunities as I can to say Wappy Floppy, so. Pretty close across the board. Top lane, just overall CS lead.
But you got Kled over near the red side red buff, and he's all by himself. Are you gonna get anything off that?
Does he have his ultimate up to get into this?
Never mind.
That can
Wow.
be very slippery. We'll see what comes out of this.
Nice gank by the
I
Maokai.
feel like he's gonna get away. Yeah, Benai's just gonna walk away.
Yeah.
And
Kled can be very tricky to pin down.
back to...
Vladi, what time are you in game? I feel like I'm a few seconds ahead of you.
I'm at 14:05. I'm just watching different things.
Oh.
I was watching bot lane trade doing that. Looking like they're gonna find Monte Carlo method in the jungle, and Zach, he has to flash out. Thresh maybe not gonna land a hook.
In this game, Monte Carlo is getting completely outclassed by Ziggy in the jungle, it seems.
I mean,
yeah.
Memorize
We might get something here, though.
Zig's ult's gonna completely whiff. Like, sketchy position
Still
here.
forcing it.
This is a good fight
Should be
for
able to get the thresh right now.
IMYordles.
Yeah, really good fight.
Gotta
for
get the
Yordles
reset
here.
here.
Get this.
Yep. Got one.
Chris gets
Meanwhile,
the
on
kill.
top
And
one.
looks like they're backing out with one.
They're gonna get
But they have an Infernal Drake up.
Yeah, so good
Yeah,
take.
Walking Floppy really hesitating on the running away there. He kind of like was backing away with everybody else, but seemed to be hesitating a lot. I don't know if it's because of the Infernal or because of some mixed calls or whatever, but loses his life for it.
That could always be the Thresh syndrome. Always looking
Yeah,
for a hook
totally.
to make a turn play. Which is, I mean, a lot of times that does work out pretty well. Before that happened, actually, Matt Brew and Benai had a trade in the top lane where Benai actually almost took Matt Brew out. He just barely got out of range and was able to get the recall off. But Matt Brew really struggling as Benai's CS lead kind of ballooning now. Level 11 to level 9.
What really hurt Mapper, I think, here is where he teleported and got nothing out of it. Not even an assist.
Yeah, that's true.
Always feels bad.
I didn't even think about that. That first teleport, it kind of seemed like he got something because there's a lot going on, but didn't actually get anything out of that.
I mean, him teleporting did, like, it. You can't say it got nothing, right? It got him nothing personally. But him teleporting probably was a contributing factor to them getting the dragon and winning that fight.
Oh no, it definitely was. It's just he didn't get any.
And yeah, especially with Yordles being the team fighting team, being behind but still being able to get dragons is going to be very beneficial if they can get this game to the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, Infernal Ocean will come in handy.
A lot of damage coming in on the camp over there.
Jinx ult coming in?
Jinx ult.
Oh, that's the same team as
Same
the
team,
other
yeah.
guy.
I wonder if Always is looking at that like, oh wait, he's on my team.
That's where you flash your own teams.
Yeah, I was gonna, he's like dead. He was dead on accurate for that. Ziggy might, Monte Carlo man, that might be caught here. Nice catch there. I didn't see if that was warded.
He was clearing out a
well.
control ward. Oh, but this could be a good fight down bottom.
Leona ult comes in. Oh, if only Jinx had ultimate. Leona ult did come in. Floppy Floppy intelligently stepping back to get good laner distance for Vance to escape that situation. So Thresh ult's still up, Lucian ult's still up. No Jinx ult, no Leona ult. So we'll see if maybe they have a window to turn something here if they choose to, or if they're gonna choose to skip. It's kind of a difficult spot because if I'm Vance and Floppy Floppy, I gotta think like the rest of my team is doing reasonably well, but we also are kind of on the clock for this game. So this might be a window for them to all in, although I don't know. Well, Vance is pretty unhealthy. Scratch that plan. So as it stands, oh, Panther's gonna flash, still gets Maokai ulted. It's a lot of damage from Ziggs, is gonna survive. Whew. Both of these mid lane champions can kind of just like delete each other under the right circumstances, so it's a really volatile matchup that can like turn from innocent looking to just completely over before I can see it. So I keep trying to pan back to it, but another all in the bot lane. Vance trying to push their advantage in the bot lane here. Nothing will come of it as Ulrus and Chris disengage.
Bud's coming in though. They might try to just brute force the tower down.
Looking like this.
Zach's here too.
Banditos.
It was actually a pretty good read on the Yordles to back off in that fight because you look at it, it seems like a good fight for you guys. But
is he going to interrupt
they
the
knew something had to
Herald
happen.
channel?
so
Just
close.
barely
Just missed it.
Just
He's
barely missed
going
it.
to lose his life for that.
Yeah, Monte Carlo Method going to go down yet again. There's the Jinx ultimate, but it is not enough. The tower is down. Here comes the
They're gonna keep going
Bledo.
too.
Nice disengaging. Leona ult is just not enough.
They're gonna get the Jinx too.
Just too much engaged. That was actually really nicely played by Super Chris. Landed a
Ours
CC on
coming
all
in
the right
Vigors,
people.
too.
Well,
Maybe they get stunned?
Blood can't be stunned in it, and it looked like Maokai wasn't either. It looked like the only person that got stunned was Lucian.
Well, he did land the E on the Lucian to try to prevent the ult to help Walrus get out of that fight.
Oh,
Panther just
my
deletes
gosh.
floppy. That's Vagar, folks. Here comes
Yeah.
the Ziggs ult. Panther is going to step to the side and dodge that.
Good dodge. Good
No
dodge.
worse for wear. I was just barely out of that range, too, so... We'll see if Desperados can get anything off this. We got another Infernal thing popping up. Just...
I do like that we've got final boss Vygar versus final boss Ziggs. Is that the name of the Ziggs skin?
I don't know if it's Arcade Ziggs or Final Boss Ziggs.
I think it's
I've
boss
yet to
battle Zig.
It's
I have yet-
Boss battle? Yeah.
I have yet to see this skin in games.
Battle boss.
I'm
yeah.
zooming in and looking at it now. This is actually really sweet. I dig it. He's got the bomber. It's Bomberman.
Yeah. You ever play that
Oh,
Bomberman for N64?
nice.
That's a great
Kicking
game.
it old school. I'm a fan.
So if you're Yordles, what do you do to try to get back in?
You just gotta slow this game down. Like, you gotta engage the fights on your terms and not... I mean, you gotta stem the bleeding. It's something like, you know, it's cliche to say and everything, but this is a situation where you don't want to push out too far. You just want to let fights, like, come to you. And which is kind of the opposite of their team composition, but you've got to be telling yourself, we win this game if it goes past, like, 35 minutes or so. Like, we're just gonna win this game. Even, I say 35 minutes to give... I'm trying to be generous on farm numbers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Another thing, like they do have a strong point on the map they can play around right now in the Vygar. The Vygar is up on the Ziggs, at least in kills and farm. The Ziggs is probably about even on gold just because of the towers. But
He's 200 down, so close.
the Maokai is building full armor. There's no magic resist on anyone else on that team. Vygar is dealing essentially almost true damage to everyone on that team.
Yeah. And that's-
Including the super tank Ziggy, who just has armor and health right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, let's see, Ziggy's got 2,200 health right now. He could... I mean, if he hits a full combo with Dark Matter, he can nearly one-shot that. Like, if the Dark Matter actually connects, that's pretty...
If he
close
if
to
he
a
locks
one-shot.
anyone but Kled or Maokai, they are dead. If he hits all three of them.
The irony, of course, is that the comp on Bandito's side, which was kind of built for picks, ends up being better at team fights because they're far ahead, and the comp that should be better at team fights ends up being better at picks because Vygar's the only one that's ahead.
Yeah. Oh, the barrier barely keeping him, and the flash. Comes the counter engage.
But he might have overextended himself out trying to get that kill.
Yo,
Good stun.
That's
Cantor.
actually a really good stun. I think he's still gone, though. Oh. Very
Doesn't blow
unlucky.
flash. Didn't have it.
Oh,
Iris.
Jinx. good. Rocket.
The Ziggs.
Right in the kisser, right there.
And when you're down this much, getting a 1-to-1 trade like that is huge.
And you got Todd Summoner, both the Todd Summoners too. I mean, they're gonna end up, they're gonna get a bot tower, but they're gonna lose it tier 2. Probably
Yeah,
gonna send somebody back.
honestly-
This could be an inhib, right? Nah, it doesn't look like they're gonna go too hard on
They-
Mercy.
I mean, with what they have, they don't necessarily take the towers all that fast, but Yordles has no real way to clear back to stop the
Bandito's
push.
not backing off. Yeah, they're going to get this
Yeah.
inhibitor turret.
I think this is the right
They
call.
can commit for it if they want.
Nice there.
Turret does live, but not able to click the Thrush Lantern and goes down
That's-
for it.
So they get,
Oh, they saved the
almost,
tower, didn't they?
yeah, they do
They
save the
did
tower.
save the turret.
At the same time, Banditos only loses 1. Maybe a Retaliatory Baron here? Both teams within.
Looks like they're just gonna push mid.
I think the Baron here is still risky. Like,
Yeah, I don't think they have.
I mean,
enough
you got most of their ults. Like, you got most of the Bandito summoners there, but they're still stronger than you.
Yeah, and the
They
5
have a
evolution
Ziggs. Like,
just
Ziggs
cleans
is still
up so
alive. The
easily,
Maokai is
Baron.
still alive. So they can still, like, poke you out of the Baron.
Kind of an interesting
But it looks like they might
evolution.
be trying to set up for it anyway, though.
They could probably try bait here.
Oh, no, it looks like they're just trying to rotate to the easy tower top lane,
Catch that top.
which they should be able to get. Banditos isn't really in position to immediately defend it, and they have all 5 up top.
I feel like they should be giving this farm over to Jinx, but a lot of them just taking Carlo method there. Although he is behind, so there's something to that.
I don't like the itemization non Monte Carlo here either. when it comes to the fights, like, I mean, the Maokai is fed Maokai's magic damage, but Maokai's not what's going to be killing you in a fight.
Yeah, especially like once you get enough health, Maokai's not the one killing you. It's gonna be like the
Yeah.
DPS.
I mean,
that's
Spear
killing you.
Visage is a great item on Zac, don't get that wrong, but it's, when you're down, it's not the first item to build.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you can't stay alive in a fight long enough to benefit from the added healing of picking up your blobs.
Is that the Z?
It
The
was a Kled ult, but
Kled
I
ult?
Came out, yeah.
opted against following it. Just dipped out. Yeah, also speaking
Oh,
kind of that
you-
organization. Oh, here comes a pick onto Ziggy potentially. Ziggy does now have a Spectre's Cowl, or Spectre's Cowl, so he does have something. Form of Magic Resist. For what it's worth, Vhagar he is kind of gated by cooldowns when killing tanks. He's capable of it if he's allowed to do multiple rotations. He can kill a tank, especially if he lands Dark Matter. The base damage on that skill is higher than anything in the game. So,
Looks like they're trying to set up a Baron here.
which I think is the right call. Again, like Banditos do want to force the issue. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, they do get outscaled.
Yeah.
If not by much, but they do.
The only thing I don't like about the Baron is that Yordles team comp in this 6v5 situation where they're eating the Baron.
Jinx isolated is really, really bad for you.
Yeah, Jinx. It looks like they will
not
stop the
alive.
Baron with that, and they might get a kill on the
they're gonna lose the
Ziggs here.
Ziggs here.
Goes down.
Well, that was. If they turn on Maokai, they can win the team fight.
Now they're actually getting
yeah.
a pretty good fight. Lucian's gone
Yeah.
too.
This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, once you start getting
Reset.
to 25, 30 minute mark, like, you don't want to team fight the Yordles team. They have items. They are able to actually take and fight, and you see it right there with a clean ace.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they commit on the Jinx, don't get the Jinx, and then, Yordles get the turnaround team fight, which is a big deal, especially for the team that's going to scale.
Yeah, they're actually up in gold now. They were behind this entire game, and now they're up 3K.
I think a lot of really poor. Like it was a it was almost a great pick onto the Jinx there, but I think toward the back end of that, when they were moving that up the river, it didn't look like Vance and Todd did that great of a job positioning. 'Cause they got popped. I mean, they were the first two dead. Like they got popped immediately.
The problem is that I'd have to rewind to check, but it looks to me like they took a lot of damage from the Baron, because I think Ziggs was healthy starting up the Baron, and he was one hit from dead by the time he rounded the corner to chase the Zig or the Jinx.
I've
Well, because
learned-
didn't Maokai and Kled kill off relatively early, leaving their carries kind of on the Baron? So
Yeah,
to have
that
everyone
could have just
tanking
been
it-
a communication issue where the two tanks saw a potential pick and didn't actually, say anything to the team.
Yeah, I know Tuba mentioned this earlier in the game, but like, these two teams are built for front to back, but you're not always going to see clean front to back. Sometimes situations break down. They're going to break down a lot more frequently. Satchel Charge is not quite going to get Tubman short out. He's going to have to flash out. Still eats the Q from Zac. The Kled ult on the back end of this. Canthor's going to
Oh
pop
my
Ziggy.
gosh.
And that's exactly what I was saying with the Maokai's build. Like, the Maokai, he's really fast, but
I mean, how much does a
The-
Maokai actually do, right? Like, he's tanky.
yep, I mean, the Lucian is also in a spot, but the problem is with how Vhagar is now after the changes he's been given over time, he's no longer just an anti-mage. He is actually, he can be a tank killer with how his ult is now.
Yeah.
How his ult is now.
Guys coming in, nice engage from Zac, right on the turret. Ziggs goes down right away. That passive
He's
is
fighting
popped, but
too.
Jinx passive is coming in. And
2 for 1 currently, but... Oh, nice!
Nice hook
Nice
onto
hook.
the
Nice hook
Vhagar.
by Whoppy Floppy there.
It's gonna be 2 for 2 now, but they still lose the.
They do get the tower though, and Jinx is still up. They could potentially rotate to another lane and try to push
I
that
think they're
down.
gonna try to take the dragon, but they don't have a smite.
yeah, that is dangerous.
It would be
Banditos
really.
does.
They don't have a smite, but Banditos has to be careful engaging a fight here.
We're gonna go ahead and say, other than the Ziggs, the team comp for Banditos pretty low range altogether. So if you're not insta popping the Jinx or the Veigar, these fights are gonna break down really quickly, and it's gonna be really, really problematic for Lucian to get any kind of consistent damage on anyone. Like, it's good. Lucian's good for like avoiding certain things in team fights and everything, but that's a lot of CC to avoid in these fights. And
Yeah,
you know, if he spends all his cooldowns avoiding CC and avoiding like the long range damage, at the end, ultimately the crit, the crit 80 carry of Jinx with the, with the minigun form and all that is just gonna like 1v1 you. So, especially at this point where he's getting to 3-4 items.
Yeah, Banditos is now in a situation where their game plan has to switch from what it was. Because before, the Fed Maokai could just dive in onto their carries, disrupt the team, and they get kills off it. But now that Yordles is caught up, they can just kill the Maokai. Maokai needs to be able to transition from being a primary engage. We got a fight here.
Ult from Vance. Down here. Maokai ult hits 3 people.
Nice flash on Thresh.
Good hook on.
Good turnaround. Trying to get the kill on Gnar.
They might get the Leona here too. And
This is the Leona
pushed
danger.
bottom.
This is always the Leona danger, where she just ends up in the middle of the people.
This right here was exactly what I was trying to say before the fight, and they did it really well. So they had to transition from being an engaging team to a healing team, and they played around their Lucian, who's their Fed player now, and they just kept him alive so he could hit damage on the front line that was stabbing. And that's a really good thing. Like, that's a tough thing to do for all levels, to realize that, like on a champion like Maokai, you want to go in. So to know that you need to sit back is a good pivot on them.
That does go down in the bottom lane. Uses his dash and ends up getting punished for it.
Did get a tower before that, so all between the kills and that fight in the top lane have kind of pulled back, but that gold lead's still holding steady at 2. Well, not steady, but still holding at 2K for the time being. Considering that Baron power play as well, it's actually not the worst, but again, they're outscaled, so they got to be looking for plays to win here. They've got to be able to get to this Jinx. I mean, you could try to play front to back against this team, but I don't think it's going to win. So they've either got to get to this Jinx and, pop the Jinx with a good Kled flank or like a flash twisted advance, or they just need to play wave clear and hope that Benaya can get the job done split pushing and play 1-4 that way. Do you guys see any other win condition that way?
No, I would agree.
I think with how the game has progressed at this point, the Kled can't win the split push versus the Gnar anymore.
And first Mal completed Cantor just barely, and the Jinx ult is going to
Nope.
clean up.
Jinx ult cleanup. Jeez.
Vance going to go ahead and pick up that red buff.
Yeah, I do think at this point in the game, with 2 completed items on each top laner, Gnar has the advantage of the split push. But Gnar not really answering. Benaya got the free turret before unanswered and is unanswered now still.
Just a quick build comment. I really, really disagree with the Rylai's on Cantor. It's not the worst item because your Q's a relatively short cooldown. You can drop slows, but it's not that great.
But
against
yeah,
carries. It's not that great against tanks either. It could be honestly that could be almost any other item like that.
Yeah, like the Rylai's is good if you're either looking to have long fights where you're chasing them down, or you're kind of afraid of getting popped.
But
And-
in a 2 hyper carry comp, he's got to be putting out damage.
Yeah, neither of those are really what he should be going for. Like I would have much rather seen like a death cap on him or a
Ludens
Ludens.
or Void Staff.
Ludens,
I think Void Staff at this point.
I mean, it looks like the
But
Rise
imagine
is the second
now
item,
at this
so-
point, yeah, and now at this point he should be getting his Void Staff, but now he's getting his death cap for Ludens,
Because he
and
spent
so
that
he's
money.
yeah.
That's like actually a big deal because I mean he's not going to be able to. We don't have
just
like any
death cap
maul.
built in here.
We don't have a maul yet on Vance. I don't know if that's going to be in his build or not, but that's a big gain. He's not going to be able to reliably get through these tanks because now even that 1 magic resist item is a big help.
That being said, with his death cap done and an Infernal Dragon, he's sitting at 843 AP.
Yeah,
which
and it's
is
Vigor,
nothing to
so-
shake a stick at.
Let's see how
I
many
don't
stacks
agree
he
with
has
the
on his
choice of
team.
magic resist item on the Maokai. Like, you go Spirit Visage as your magic resist item. They don't have
Yeah.
enough. They don't have the consistent magic DPS to warrant building.
Yeah. I think Adaptive Helm is built against Swain and Swain only, pretty much.
Swain,
Karthus.
like Swain, Karthus, like anything like
Cass.
Malzahar, anything that has
Cassiopeia
like
too, yeah.
It's not
anything
bad
that has
against Syndra
dots,
either, but
consistent
yeah.
damage. Like, I mean, it's a great item when it's good. It is a terrible item when you don't pass it.
Cut Syndra ult down by quite a bit because each one counts as an individual hit.
Yeah, you're like Syndra. You're essentially you're putting an exhaust on her every time she ults.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the healing from the passive on Maokai is so good. He heals.
Yeah, with a spectral
With the
cowl,
Spirit
you go
Visage.
from healing like 350 to almost 500 on your auto.
Totally. It
attacks.
makes a big difference.
It's just a more cost-efficient item in general, across the board, pretty much. Even if you're a character that doesn't heal, it's just better. So it's gonna go down pretty quickly. Now, Banditos do need to be careful sieging. It's really, really difficult to siege against Jinx and the Event Horizon.
To me,
Yeah.
it almost seems like Yordles doesn't realize that they've turned the corner and are ahead now, because they seem hesitant to engage.
Is that clever?
I like the Cledel here. If they can bum rush down this Elder Dragon, it's pretty
They
good.
gotta get out fast if they're gonna do that. They gotta not take. I mean, maybe they do take.
Jinx
the
isn't going to be there.
Yeah, they don't.
You just have to get to the Vigor.
Jinx
ult
ult.
comes
Nice
in.
play, but
Whoa,
nice.
Monte
Zach
Carlo
over
got it
to
anyway.
Zach.
steal by Monte
Yordles gets
Carlo
the
method
steal.
and gets out clean.
It looks like Ziggy might have panic ulted with the, or Panica smited when the rocket came in, because he
I'm
smited around
surprised.
1600.
I'm really surprised that Yordles didn't like try to keep that fight going. They backed out of that.
Yeah, I was
think
thinking
they
the
win
same
that.
thing. I think people just like, and this might just be like a game awareness thing or level of play thing, but yeah, like people like really scared. Like, oh, we got it, get away. It's like, no, you only
Yeah.
have 90 seconds in this thing. You gotta use it. Like,
Yeah.
The
No, like
first
I was
thing that
saying,
keeps
it
that
still
problem,
seems
they're
like Yordles doesn't realize that they're ahead now, and the game is in their control.
yeah.
Because they're still playing really scared, really slow. But after I say that, they start setting up for Baron. This is a good proactive play. This is what you want to do when you get that Elder Dragon.
I
Oh
like
my! Somebody's got the Hextech wards. Who's got the
Oh.
Hextech wards?
Oh,
Somebody on blue side has
Ryan Bush
Hextech
missed
wards.
everybody. Let's see if he can avoid stand instead of Rylai.
Ooh, and the Elder Dragon is going to make this Baron drop so fast. Let's see if
Banditos, like, Ziggs needs to be in there laying down bombs.
Whoppy's down. A lot of damage.
Vigar is caught. Vigar is not down yet.
Vigor
Vigar
can get out.
This fight's breaking down. Baron is gonna go.
Baron
over.
does go to Yordles.
Here comes the Jinx.
There's the
Yeah,
Jinx.
And there's the reason, yeah.
That's likely the ball game, folks. 5
They have
for
a
1
wave.
ace.
Looks like that'll at least be, at the very least, be inhibitor and 2 turrets. We'll see if they can get more than that.
I think
But
they
a pretty
can get
solid
ends.
one-team fight coming out for Yordles there.
I think they have to stop at the inhibitor here, unless Banditos comes out and tries to
Baron,
fight
they still
them.
have the elders. I think it's unreasonable.
I don't think they end here.
2 inhibitors or Nexus Towers.
No,
I
get
don't
one
know.
inhibitor. They don't have the sideways.
Oh, maybe they can get the actually they can definitely get Nexus Towers here, right?
There's Jinx.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They can end. They can
Yeah.
10 seconds.
They don't get distracted. They actually just build the towers. Like, no,
They're gonna back out on
They're
that.
gonna play safe.
I don't mind that. I don't mind
Yeah.
that.
I don't mind the way they've played that just in general. I mean, it hasn't been the cleanest, but I like that the mindset is I mean, they feel like I know we said that they haven't been pushing the advantages necessarily, like they haven't turned the corner. But when you have a team that outscales, it's not too harmful to just play it slow.
Yeah, the only reason I brought that up is because they were still giving away advantages. Like, they're still giving away objectives when they were in a position that they could just force a fight.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I'm just it's not that punishing with this kind of team comp or in this specific game. But I mean, that is one thing you see, like good teams take any advantage and make a lot out of it. So
I will say it was very good on Yordles not to tilt out of this game. Like, there's a point in this game where the jungler on Yordles was 0-4,
they were
completely
5K
out of
down
the game,
at one point.
and they managed to just stick it together. And now they're looking like they're going to win this game. Only have to go really wrong for them to lose at this point.
A lot of health for Lucian and Ziggs to get through. Lucian does have Blade of the Ruin King completed now.
I don't like the Leandri's pickup by the back. I understand, he's they're ahead now. He's trying to do more damage. Zach doesn't need to do more damage.
I agree.
In this team, I'd much rather see him build, a Thorn Mail or
Knight's
something
Vow.
else there. Yeah, or Knight's Vow, because their damage is coming from their Jinx.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
have a
I
Knight's
agree.
Vow.
Knight's Vow would be a good choice.
With Stiff now completed on
Thornmail's always a good choice. Thornmail's just a really good item right now.
Yeah, especially with the main carry on
Even
either
Redemption?
side being AD.
They don't have a Redemption either.
A redemption's not as necessary right now.
I wouldn't build a redemption. Maybe I would have put the locket on Zach instead of on the Leona.
I'll be taking a ton of damage. Zach ult's gonna grab me.
Great Zach ult, though.
Yeah,
That's-
really nice sack ult.
Yeah, there's a longbow.
They got the Jinx resets in this fight. It's just theirs.
Should be it. That should be game.
A lot of damage.
Leona is
does
a
go
drop
down
here
the
too.
turret.
Good on.
Still alive. Zach gets in on Lucian.
Might be able to take down Zach here.
I think if he gets like a crit or two there, the Zach draw. Zach, he has some chance, I suppose.
But they have a double wave of super minions in the mid lane. This is going to be game. Unless Lucian is a hero here.
There's a chance he's a hero here.
Oh my god, no way. Is he gonna get it? Does get both tanks down.
But
Jinx
game
is
goes
But Jinx is just taking down the Nexus.
Honestly, both AD carries played this game pretty well. Both end with a pretty solid scoreline because of it. But game does go over to Yordles.
I was actually very impressed with Wobbly Floppy's hook. Like, he had a lot of fight-changing hooks in the
Totally.
game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So, game one is going to go to Yordles. Outscaling, taking a quick look at the damage here.
And if I'm looking at champ select for this next game, I think you definitely ban out the Maokai. You ban out the Zac. Like, those two champions are just, they put so much influence on the game.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I don't remember all the bans off the top of my head, but like no tanks were banned. I remember Morgana.
Yeah, I didn't see anything else in this game that I think warrants a ban. You might see them ban out the Vigar because that's just a weird champion to play against. I do think the Vigar is what kind of turned the game around for them.
Yeah.
He was the only one with a lead coming into the mid game.
And, when you start doing fights in the jungle, Vigar just completely separates your team up.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a tough situation. I mean, I said this going into the game, like, Lucian's going to have a really, really hard time DPSing against this team. So, like, as shifty and elusive as Lucian can be to put damage out, like, if you're dodging a ton of damage but outputting a bunch, if the end of the fight happens and it's still just, like, Jinx and one other person and you and one other person, Jinx wins that, like, every single time. Because she's resetting, she's got the speed, you can't escape from it, she outranges you. She does her damage. Like, I mean, that build at this point in the game is a lot better. So, like, it was going to be really, really difficult for Vance to navigate these fights. I think he actually did a really admirable job in this game. But Lucian,
No, I think Vance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Vance for sure played those team fights really well, and for the most part, Banditos did a good job at pivoting to peel for him instead of trying to force fights again.
Yeah,
The problem was like we were saying from champ select, you get to 25-30 minutes and it starts to not matter how far ahead you
Yeah, maybe didn't quite push their advantages enough. Well, they definitely didn't. It was just a matter of... I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the money they had wasn't like it was, I mean the bot lane was in control, but like a lot of the gold lead was on Benaya, and while they did I think they ended up getting a tier 2 in top and then rotated the bot and eventually got bot, but by that point
I think
Yorls
the
had fought back
problem
in.
that if I were to look at that game and try to fix anything specifically, I think they just needed to group up with the Maokai earlier. The Maokai at one point was 505 versus an 041 jungler. They were essentially at a point where it was a 5v4 in their favor. And they kept just going for they kind of just kept trying to keep the Zac more down when he was already as down as he.
I think the big swing was the Baron.
Banditos that was the big
for
swing.
The Baron, but they had a mid inhibitor turret that had 300 health. I think if they walk mid as 5, they use the Zig Satchel on the mid inhibitor turret, they get the turret, they could even stay and try to force down the inhibitor. I don't like 5-man, or I don't like Baron attempts when there's 5 men up on the enemy team.
Yeah, pretty much ever, unless you can really burn it down fast.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
2 mountains and you see their jungler in mid lane, sure, you go for it. But they knew the whole team was there, and they chose the chance. It's like a high chance, medium reward play that's just you shouldn't go for.
The dragon fight was actually similar earlier in the game when after the successful gank bot, just a little indecision on the objective. You're either in or out. You got to pick one.
Yeah, ultimately they just ultimately need to all get on the same page. When a call is I'm not sure, what their team dynamic is, if they have a shot caller or if they just all kind of do what they think is best. But the Baron call, from what I'd have to go back and look at it again, but to me it just seemed like there was some sort of disconnect between what the tanks wanted to do and what the rest of the because they had Jinx dead to rights, but it seemed like no damage actually followed in to do anything about it.
Well, I know in that situation in particular, it was, I believe it was Maokai. I think Maokai and Kled caught the Jinx. Jinx barely gets away, but at that point, if your front line's chasing that way, it's not like their pursuit is that great. I know the Ziggs ult had whiffed before, and then from that point, all Yordles had to do was just engage on the back line because the front line was too busy chasing Jinx up through Tribush. So all of a sudden your line breaks down and the archers in the back, so to speak, are just vulnerable and they just got wrecked. So I'm not sure if it was a pursuit issue. I didn't see if it was a flash twisted advance to catch the Jinx. If it was, that's a fair amount of distance to cover, even with the CC coming on the Jinx right away. But Ulrich actually had a pretty good flash over the wall to get out of that and drop vision temporarily, so that they weren't able to clean that up exactly. And if you think about maybe if the Kled ult came out faster, then they all could have followed in the the speed up path and gotten it that way. But
looks like they might be looking for a sub for Matt Baru for this next game. Looks like connection was having problems in the middle of that game.
yeah, I do think the Zac ban's definitely gotta be a consideration.
Mm-hmm.
The champion's just so good in these kind of situations like that, and you got to consider too. Monte Carlo Meth had an awful start to this game. He got absolutely destroyed early, and it still was just too ridiculous. I mean, for what it's worth, the Maokai too. I mean, Maokai didn't end up winning this game, but there's really, really strong disruptors. There's really strong, CC heavy disruptors that have, reasonable early games. I think are super powerful. Honestly, in really everything up to, the pro scene. And even sometimes in the pro scene. It's a really, really difficult thing for people to get used to playing against, especially if you can get any of that CC onto the carries. I don't know if you guys want to discuss what you think for the draft this game. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick.
I would like an invite to this.
You will not be granted an invite.
Apparently not.
I'm not in there either.
Womp womp.
Guy could invite her, just went to the bathroom.
Everything has gone downhill.
So what do you think what do you think they switch up in the draft here? I 100% agree. You get rid of Zach. I think you get rid of Maokai. And then what do you think we see come out of them?
I don't know. If I knew these teams better, it'd be because you never know. Like some teams, like they win a game and they change everything just to do something different. And some teams, you win a game and you keep everything the same because, like, well, okay, well, they couldn't beat that strategy. We might as well just keep it all the same if they don't make us change it. So I don't know
But
if Yordles
Yordles-
is going to change it up much.
They won the game, but you can't say they won the game cleanly either. Like,
I don't know. They lost early game, but after that it was pretty
But-
much a Yordles game from that Baron
yeah,
onward.
but would you say that Yordles won the game or that it was more of a throw on Bandito's side?
I don't know. I think that Yordles kind of had, like, because they had a better scaling comp. Like, the longer it goes, it's better for Yordles anyway. So I don't know if Banditos could win after a certain amount of time. So in that sense, like, it's not necessarily a throw. It's just like an inevitability. And if they can't win the game fast enough, they just lose. But I don't know. Throws and
I'm back.
like winning the game versus like throwing the game is always a really delicate conversation.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, me personally, what I want to see, I want to see the Zach off the table. I want to see the Maokai off the table. And I think that's the only thing you switch up in the bands here. Something went wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Twitch chat
Something's
keeps
wrong.
saying it, but
Wait, what's wrong?
It's just we have to
Something's
join one
wrong.
at a time.
Okay, yeah.
do we need fresh invites or?
Nope, we should be good. Khan just has to jump down to spectator. Or is Khan their sub?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, Twitch chat is saying quite a bit, but the general consensus is that they did need to win that game before 30 minutes, and they didn't. I do think there's steps they could have taken to kind of push their advantage more. I actually kind of think grouping was wrong in a weird way. Like, I know they were stronger, but I think you want to isolate more and use the Kled ult. And it looked like they tried to, and it just wasn't like clean enough. Especially like that bot lane rotation. Like, I think they overdove that. Like, they definitely could have just like taken tower and then engaged on it. But
Yeah, I think the biggest problem when it came down to team fighting for Yordles is that they had the ability they had the ability to get on the Jinx. They didn't have the ability to kill it.
yeah.
So they needed their team comp needed some sort of like Syndra or something bursty out of the mid lane to actually pick out that Jinx.
Well, I think the idea they had, I mean, this is before the Jinx was picked, but in theory, you have, Kled ult into Maokai Twisted Advance on a backline carry, and then Ziggs ult to follow up with it. It just never was executed that way. Like, I didn't see Ziggs ult land on the Jinx, like, at any point. I mean, maybe it did happen once, but I don't think it happened at any point in that game, especially, like, later in the game. But, I mean, that being said, Kled ult is, Kled's not going to get through that, not through that front line. Like, Kled's not going to get through that. But Maokai speed up into Twisted Advance could get to the back line. Like, speed up from the Kled ult into the Twisted Advance on a carry is going to do fine. They just never had the follow-up of the Ziggs ult to clean the kill up. So, a lot of those fights, Ziggy was doing a pretty good job of finding ways to get onto Ulrus, and they just didn't have the damage to clean it up. That top Baron fight was a good example of it. So we'll see what kind of adjustments are made for Game 2. I have to think we're going to see a Zac ban. Maybe Kled too. I mean, a lot of those bans seemed weird, but maybe willing to switch up, because it didn't look like they were too, targeted at one person. There were a lot of mid lane bans, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have played each other a bit, and we have a little bit of a skewed perspective on what we think bans should be based on what we play against.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't think you see a Kled ban. They might. I mean, it's possible. Like, a lot of times you just see people ban what they just played against, make them beat you with something else. But I don't think the Kled was that impactful in the game itself. He did well in lane. After that, didn't really do it.
Kind of wonder if you see. Is Florida Killer gonna sub? Florida Killer.
I mean, Gled falls off like a brick.
Yeah.
He does not scale well.
Wonder if you see Benaya play something more split pushy. I don't know. Again, like I don't know champion pools here, but like it looks like that could be a potential avenue to win because Benaya had a pretty big advantage. Maybe something like Aurelia or Jax or something.
Benaya, from what I'm looking at, he is essentially a Kale one trick.
We did see the Kale ban, so
yeah, so like that makes sense. And Kled is his second most played champion, and as of right now, he's been just spamming it. I mean, you look at his match history; he's been spamming it fairly unsuccessfully. He hasn't been doing poorly in the games, but he hasn't been able to convert them to wins either. So, he also has a decent amount of games put on Swain. If they end up in a situation like they did last game where it's looking like they want more of a team fight comp, I do think the Swain's a good pick.
Yeah, it's interesting for a Kale one trick to play Kled because Kled's a fun champion, but he is very different than Kale.
he's like almost
Falls
the
off
opposite.
hard.
Yeah.
And whereas Kale like just scales better than almost anybody.
Yeah. I wonder. Alright, so we do see the Maokai ban this time around.
I just ate a delicious mint chocolate chip ice cream sandwich. Just like to give a shout out to Hood Ice Cream.
All sugared up. He's good to go.
Now I'm just mad.
We'll see. So there's the Zac and the Maokai. Both teams deciding, hey, we made mistakes. I happen to agree.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with those bans. We'll see if the Kale ban comes out now.
I'm interested to see if Banditos go more toward
An eye for
that
an
split
eye.
put, like maybe like more in the direction of split push, or if they just stay with the same idea but do like a better front to back carry potentially. Like say they have like a a little bit more challenging to play, but
I do agree with the Vygar ban. I think the Vygar was the big factor in their win.
What were the 3 bans last game coming out of?
Caitlyn.
Banditos?
something in Morgana.
So it's Caitlyn and Morgana, maybe?
You wonder if you see the Caitlyn come in.
I would assume so.
We got the Ziggs.
But I've
Do
learned
you
not to
think
assume
that's more of a
anything.
takeaway than an actual pick, or is Cantor a Ziggs player?
I think Cantor is a control mage player from what I remember. A lot of Malzahar. Although they've banned the Malzahar both games, so Malzahar, Ziggs, Oriana, if I remember correctly. I mean, this is a long time ago, so things could have changed.
I don't know. With every 80 carry in the game up, I'm not certain I'm behind the first pick Sivir.
Yeah.
I would like to see them pick like a Cho'Gath. I expect like a Cho'Gath pick here if they're first Sivir. Like,
Well, we don't know if he plays Joe. Like
That's
I'm just
That's
saying,
true.
of all the 80 carries that I mean, Sivir's like a good 80 carry and
Rek'Sai.
opens up a lot of fun team comps, but I don't know. It doesn't scream like necessary first round pick to me.
I would say that's almost 100% Ziggy's Rek'Sai. So
Yeah, looking at
just
Ziggy,
throwing
Ziggy
that
plays a
out.
lot of Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to see Ziggy in the jungle again.
So Sivir picked with Caitlyn up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to discredit Sivir. Like, obviously the champion is very, very good. Just blind with Caitlyn
Oh.
up is
Misfortune,
really
that was
sketchy.
another one
That was
banned
another
last
one of the
game.
bans, yeah.
That was banned last game and it's here.
It looks like
Swanee,
they're setting.
Ziggs.
Looks like they're setting up for some sort of wombo again. They have Caitlyn, they have Ziggs. They're looking to just AOE you down.
So I
No
think
shame in that.
at this point, if you're is it Yordles on the right now?
Yordles is.
Yordles on the left.
Right. Honey's
Yeah,
on
Honey's
the
on the left. Yeah. So no, it's Banditos on the right, Yordles on the left. So if you're Banditos at this point, I think you pivot. I don't know how capable their champion pools are for this, but I think you got to identify what you're seeing, which is just like, holy cow, that wombo combo. You're probably not going to out wombo it.
Tolerate cowardice.
So you've got to find either a way to disrupt that or split push or. I mean, Sivir is capable of like a ton of AoE damage. I just maybe if you want to like match, fire with fire, you do like Orianna or something. But they go with the cast instead.
Is this a best of 3?
It is a best of 3, yeah.
Ooh, let's hope for a game 3.
Yeah. I know chat wants.
Let's hear from chat for the game 3.
Yeah, chat wants the game 3. Chat definitely
Spam
wants
Kappa
the game
for
3.
game 3.
Yeah.
Spam Kappa.
Kappa for game 3. Bible thump for the series is over.
So does someone play Nasus on their side, or is Nasus just gonna... I mean, I know I've been seeing a lot of Nasus in solo queue, and it's an annoying champion at the least.
If you insist.
I wonder.
Wayne, man. Okay, so
I
they're...
don't think the Nasus is good against the hyper tanks, and they've already banned 2 of them. So
I think
and
it's great
didn't
against
look like
tanks.
they wanted
though.
the Cho'Gath or anything. So
35% shred, super good.
Looks like they're trying to force Benaya back on the Kled again.
poor
Was
Avant-Garde
Darius
with
in
the
that?
message deleted. Avant-Garde's having a hard time getting through the Unite bot.
Poor Avant-Garde. What did he get? You can click message deleted and see it. Oh, lots of Bible thumps. There we go. You got it. Yeah, Cho'Gath's still available. Good call on that.
I like the Taric pickup. It's,
I do
Taric
like
is
the
very
Mundo
good for the
pick,
Wombo.
too.
Um,
It's not perfect. You want something that's more engagey, so you don't have to rely on Sejuani alone for engage. But I think Mundo is pretty reasonably positioned right now. And
I don't agree at all. I think he gets burned down by Cassiopeia. I don't think he adds to the Wombo team comp.
I mean, he can build Spirit Visage and Adaptive Helm, which are both really, really good against Cass and both pretty good for him.
But both AD carries got really big last game, and I don't think you can afford to get 2 early Magic Resist
So
items.
looking like we're gonna get kind of a sort of a throwback to end of season 6, early season 7, press R at level 6 bot lane. Who do you think wins this bot lane
I have
matchup,
to
Colin?
believe. Okay, yeah.
Huh?
This bot lane matchup.
What is it, Nautilus and MF?
Yeah.
And it's not swapping? Gosh, I don't know.
I would think
Sivir and Taric? Simply because...
You just shove, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it
but
too, though,
if they
like-
all win, I feel like they would just curb something before the
Yeah.
Taric wall gets down.
plus like Nautilus is gonna pull someone in, which pretty much just gives Taric free stun.
Yeah.
I don't like the Banditos comp nearly as much as I liked their comp last game. I think they have a big front line, and the 2 carries aren't nearly as hyper carry as the carries they had last game. Like, you don't have the resets on Jinx. You don't have the crazy damage out of Vigar.
Oh,
you just got some Wombo, and I don't think Mundo fits into that comp at all.
Yeah, your Yordles is on the left now. Yordles is blue side now.
Yeah,
That's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, Yordles. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
isn't that? Did I say
you
that?
said, you said Banditos. That's making
Oh,
sure.
okay.
All right, we're good.
I was
we're good,
thinking.
we're
I
good.
Yordles,
actually-
definitely.
I think Bandito's comp actually came together pretty well.
Yeah, I favor Bandito's comp in this matchup.
Yeah, I do
definitely.
too. I mean, Sivir plus Kledult is gonna give Cass the mobility she needs to do what she needs to do, like whether it's kiting or engaging. And I think I mean, we know this because we've played a fair amount of this 2 core. The Sivir Cass 2 carry, like 2 hyper carries is a really, really good combo.
Yeah,
And
it gives
lot
them a
of
little bit of what
synergy.
they were missing from the last game, where they didn't have much late game scaling.
Well, they're both excellent front to back champions too.
Yeah.
Like Sivir,
And-
Sivir can just auto attack tanks and is doing a bunch of AoE damage in the process. Cass is really good at actually killing tanks if she wants to. And the Sivir ultimate really helps Cass, kite things out if things go south and they hard engage the other direction. So really
Plus-
good synergy in those 2 cores.
Yeah, plus Yordle's comp has 3 champions that their only form of engage is running down your face, really, and that sets them up to be Cassio.
Yeah.
I really like the Taric pickup here because, from what we had seen at the point in the Champ Select, it seemed like they were going to be going for some sort of Wombo. and Tarek completely shut down a Wombo result.
I mean, one of the things too that's kind of interesting with this is like you have really kind of hidden synergies with the Tarek stun with this team comp too. Like, I mean, yeah, like Rek'Sai knock up, Kled pullback into stun, like that's really really powerful. Like they're easy combos to pull as long as you're like concentrating on them. Also, like if the Tarek ends up not using like stun as a follow up and using it as a peel, Tarek like that on cast is extremely potent as well. Like you can use it as, you know, as a way to set the ult up. You can use it as a way after the ult to restun. Not sure if that was intended or if it was just Tarek ult to help keep people alive. I mean, Tarek with, I don't know, Khan, you can kind of comment on like the builds for Tarek right now because I know they're kind of varied, but you know, how viable is the Ardent Sensor build on him?
I don't think it would be that bad. No, they're not going to get a ton of tankiness anyways, but if, like, the way they're stationed right now, if you get, like, an Ardent Sensor, and then you guys are just charging in with the Tarek ult falling as they're coming in, you can negate the entire burst damage that MF and Ziggs are going to do, and then he's able to give that Ardent heal off to Sivir, Kled, which is pretty good for them. So I don't think it's, like the worst. I mean, not going to be terribly tanky, but it's aren't going to be terribly tinky anyways.
What's the channel timing on his ult? Or not the channel, but like how long does it take the invulnerability?
Is it 3
to pop
seconds?
Up? Is it 2.5 or 3 seconds?
It's like 2.5 to 3. I can't remember
I'm
for
trying
sure.
I'm trying to think of a timing situation where like he starts the ult as soon as he sees Ziggs ult come down. If Ziggs
Oh
is
no,
really
you
close
wouldn't
to
have
the
enough
fight-
time.
Yeah, you wouldn't have enough time.
Between
but...
Yeah, like if they're getting the jump though, if you know that you're Kled ulting in, Sivir ulting in, and you're dropping it as your team is collapsing onto their team, and you can get those squishies before they can start sitting up. Because I mean, that's all their squishies are going to do is just immediately throw everything out to try to kill, you know, red team because they don't have a front line. But if you can negate all of that burst damage with the Tarek ult beforehand, you just neutralize the entire enemy team.
I mean, that's like all. I mean, so much of the damage in these fights is going to come from Misfortune Alt Ziggs ult combo, and if you can cut one of those, you're gonna have a really really difficult time out DPSing Cassio and Sivir in a team fight.
Like we're just doing a fan out start here.
Yeah, a little bit more conservative from both sides than last game. Last game we kind of saw like a cheeky 3-man. Not seeing that this time. Ward into the pixel bush from blue side.
30 seconds until minions.
We had a question in Twitch chat for Tuba. Can Mundo split versus Kled?
I don't think so. I think the matchup favors Kled, especially if he gets an Executioners. I don't think Mundo can do much against the Kled.
I would agree, for the most part.
We have
I
a
mean,
little
Mundo
bit
can
of invade
take
coming
it,
in.
if Kled teleports and Mundo's stays in the top lane, his E helps him take a turret relatively quickly. But as far as like the 1v1, particularly like in the 1 to 3 item range, I think Kled is favored heavily.
Yeah, the Mundo pick is a little. I mean, I'm trying to think of like other tank. I mean, they could have ran the Gnar. Did the Gnar get banned?
I don't think so.
No, Nar was banned.
That was
Like-
Benaya play. Or no, that was.
Yeah, it was a different player. So Benai was playing the Gnar. So
Yeah,
I don't
Benai
know.
played the
I don't know
Kled
full art of killer's champion pool, but
I mean, if Yordles is looking to go late again, I do like the Mundo pick just because Mundo is a hyper tank. With the change to his Burning Agony, he gets a ton of magic for this, so he can almost essentially like focus out towards armor a bit and still be really tanky.
Good level 1 stun there by Wappy Floppy, actually. Wappy Floppy played a pretty solid game last game. I mean, he was a little indecisive at times, but focused more on points, so we'll see if the stuns can follow suit this game.
I mean, last game when it came to skill shots, it didn't seem like Wappy Floppy was missing.
It was just a matter of the decisions in all these fights. Always surprises me just how hard Kled can actually shove early with the bear trap on a rope. Like, it actually does a lot of damage.
do we know what seeds these teams are?
These are 2 and 3.
Second and third.
2 and 3.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like a
Yordles
pretty
is
evenly
2.
matched series.
I actually do, like I said, I do like Banditos this time around a little bit more.
I do too.
And I mean, really, if you, I mean, I think mid game does go to Yordles, but I think like early and late actually. I mean, they have so much priority in like these lanes. Like Cash should be able to bully Ziggs around even through the teleport.
Rek'Sai is just waiting at red again to try to. Okay, go with it now.
Yeah, like Rek'Sai's got a faster clear. Top's gonna shove. Bot's gonna shove.
This right here, I 100% disagree with. By the way, Monte Carlo doing the Gromp on the Sejuani. Sejuani does not clear the big camps super fast.
They're gonna go to Krugs. Ziggy does spot it. He's
Yeah,
waiting
really
again.
interesting stuff happening here in the.
Yeah, like
Rectangle.
going for Gromp or Krugs is good like gold. It's not efficient experience. It's not fast in any manner for a level 3 Sejuani. Whereas Wraith you kill or Raptor you kill really fast. It's the highest experience camp. A lot of weird things come out of the jump path.
Ziggy's actually gonna end up just a straight up Raptor camp steal.
Yeah.
He wasted a little. He's down a little bit on like timing, just like speed, because he waited so long for that. But kind of a cheeky steal, waited out to make sure Monte Carlo method was in fact going to the Krugs and not the Raptor. As soon as he saw that, takes him and is on his way out.
Well, we talked about Monte Carlo method maybe being one trick on the Zac last game, so it'll be really
interesting.
interesting to see how he plays on the Sejuani here. He played the Zac, especially in the late game, pretty well. Had some really nice ultimates, especially in that very last team fight. So we'll see how his Sejuani is.
Really, really close trade in the top lane. Smell coming in. Both characters chugged potions. That might be a kill. Mundo has the flash out.
The flash, yeah. The
Rek'Sai
power
looking
of the
bottom.
remount.
Flash knock up.
I got the flash from my map.
Yeah, 2 key flashes blown on the side of Yordles.
Spell Shield did block that double up. I was about to say.
Seemed like a
that's gonna
slight
take
miscommunication on the side of Banditos on that play though, because Tarek did not swap stun over to Rek'Sai when she went in.
I didn't see if he had used it prior. Might have been on cooldown, but I wasn't following closely. Mundo did blow teleport to get back to top lane, but Naya is going to walk, so they will have teleport advantage potentially for this first Mountain Drake. Wait for that.
Things are going better for Yordles in the early game here, already with a 400 gold lead just from CS.
That being said, though, Ziggs should not be using but again, this is kind of the adventure. This is this is the adventure of casting gold and silver, is that things don't always happen the way casting anything really, they don't always happen the way you expect them to. So you know, Ziggy for that cheeky steal does have the XP advantage, but let's see where he's gonna go with this. He did trade his flash for the AD carry's flash in the bot lane. It looks like he might be taking the top lane.
You know, the Mundo splitting earlier was mentioned, and it's interesting that Mundo went Stoneborn Pact here. You know, Grasp, of course, is better for the 1v1, better for the split push. So him taking Stoneborn Pact is really saying, well, I'm going to be grouping with my team and peeling for my AD carry and giving them a little bit extra healing.
Is there any chance we see?
Although with that said, with how Mundo functions with HP, is there a point in the game where just the bonus 5% HP would be better than the heal from
I don't know.
like Grasp?
I'd have to believe Grasp is better.
Mundo alt Q lands on the Kled. Kled disengages the counter gank.
Flash is coming up too, though.
Oh,
But
that's
He's running
gotta
around
be a
here.
dead Kled. Gotta be a dead
they're gonna
Kled.
get the Kled, first Kled. Are they gonna get the Rek'Sai too?
And they're gonna get the double kill there.
Nice. split
good.
the
Yeah.
kills onto
And-
both tanks.
And here's what changes the the comment with the can Mundo split against Kled is yes, if Mundo's significantly far ahead, if he's an item ahead or 2 items ahead, then yes, he of course can 1v1 and split push against Kled. So we'll see if this lead currently held by Florida Killer is able to be extended. I do like the choice of getting the Executioner's calling quickly on Kled though.
Yeah, that's a good item choice. I actually think that had Ziggy not traded flashes with MF, they convert a
would've
kill
had
there.
that. Yeah, for sure.
And I do think that the flash for flash in the bottom lane was a mistake. Because if you look at the 2 bottom lanes here, they're literally both just looking to farm. Nautilus isn't really looking to pull anyone in because that's the only way for the Banditos bottom lane to actually get a fight on.
Tarek conveniently very, very good against the Nautilus CC suite.
So going there's not really a situation unless they come back and try to force another repeat gank that the flash for flash is going to actually yield any advantage bottom lane.
Florida Killer lands a couple really cheeky Qs. Is going to all in. Bear Trap on a rogue miss to start this whole fight. A lot of damage
Can I get him
going on.
again?
Oh, the Q lands.
Oh.
Doesn't want to dive. I think he maybe could have done that, but opts against it.
Yeah, if he goes for the dive and Kled gets a remount though, then it's a really easy turnaround kill. So I think
Ziggy might get a red steal here.
especially because he knows Benai's teleport is down, him just forcing Kled out of lane means he's gonna get a lot of damage in this turret.
I didn't see who
Good
got
damage
that.
coming
Looks
out by
like
the wreck side, but
There's one, yeah, I think got that.
CC change.
Oh,
my
that's, you gotta feel bad
goodness.
there.
Ziggy really close. The smite fight was actually relatively close too, but Monte Carlo Method did end up getting his red buff.
with the red buff on the Nautilus, they might be able to actually go for some sort of aggression bottom lane. Like, he can afford at this point to take some kind of bad trades and then just regen back.
I kind of feel like Mudo should have just.
Oh,
I kind of feel like Mudo should have just
with
took
the
that fight
missed
instead of running
aircraft
away. Maybe you can comment more. Oh, we got a 20 ult bot lane.
Wow.
Misfortune ult and Sun and Super Chris picking up another.
I think
Nice.
Mundo did the right thing by running away there.
And Bloodthirsty. I don't know, like he took a lot of damage on the back end of that. Like I feel like I know he didn't have ult up at the time, but he definitely could have. I think just like turned on the burning agony and tried to go in for that.
I think at the very least you kite until Pled's W times out. Those of you who are listening and haven't played Pled, Pled's W is like when you attack someone when it's up, it's a passive, like you can't activate it. When you attack anything that's up, minion or otherwise, he's got the 4 enhanced auto attacks that you just saw if you're looking at top lane now. If he uses the first one, you can kind of back out, wait for it to time out, and then go back in, and he doesn't get the super enhanced auto attacks. So if Mundo is able to kite back for a little bit, wait till that W times out, then maybe he turns around.
Oh,
Thor flashes out, dodges the Cassiopeia ult for the top destroyer, and is a little worse for wear, but that's it. So nice escape there by Canthor. That was super risky.
you're gonna be able to force down this tower for split
Yeah,
tower.
got the Sassel charge. Oh, maybe
Oh,
throws the
good
Sassel
stun by
charge.
Tarek.
in
That's
the
gonna
Nice
be a
job.
kill.
It's done.
Oh, they're gonna be
You
able
might
to
get
turn
this
this.
loose here too.
Yeah, they're gonna get turned to the set unless
Now it's going back
save.
to
That's a double kill on the top destroyer, and
You know, Whoppy Floppy put in some work last game, putting in some work this game. Secures
Yeah,
the
I'm really
kill
impressed
there,
with that
and-
guy.
Yeah, secures the kill and saves the turret, all with one little stun.
yeah, kind of
Hashtag gems.
I mean, definitely greedy by Canthor going back in there. I don't see why this is a teleport by Florida Killer to try to save the tower, which
You did.
is gonna work.
Looks like
Sivir
Flight
down here?
going to Sivir. Sivir's going to go down here.
Yeah,
I think the ult might have been a little overkill there, but
So 3
Kill
kills for the
secured.
Nautilus.
good. One thing to take away from this though is that there are currently 3 kills on Super Chris, which is not where you want these kills to be going.
he would make Dodo. He would make Dodo proud. Bloodthirsty support.
Need that gold. Get gold, get tanky.
We got a gank coming.
That is a good point, though. Like, let's see.
Nice flash.
Nice.
Follow up by. That was cheeky.
Good escape.
I'm a
Good
fan.
escape, Benai.
And they managed to pull the Sejuani ult out of that too, so All in all, that wasn't too bad for Benaya.
The double stun.
Double stun.
Yeah, you're not that tanky yet.
Oh,
But you're also not
We're
dead.
gonna get out of this.
So maybe you are.
No.
Does not get out of it. Next I execute.
And they might be able. Sejuani should go down here.
We won't get out of this. Ziggs is on his way up though.
Good remount. He's gonna be a dead Sejuani.
Yeah, I see what he was trying to go for there,
frustrating to
but
play against.
But that's where the Executioner's Calling, comes in. If he doesn't get the Executioner's Calling there, first item, then I don't think they get the kill on Mundo as easily, and the game could be different.
There's a chance Ziggs makes it up there in time after that to turn that too. So.
Seconds matter, and you lose a lot of seconds when Mundo's getting all his health back.
Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning that Todd the Destroyer is going for the tier end Roa builds. You don't always see that on cast. A lot of people will. I mean, it's kind of like the new. A lot of people recently have been doing that, but you'll sometimes see tier. Some combination of tier Morellos and rods. Sometimes all three, but it's just worth mentioning that when you do the double scaling build like that, the 2 kills don't have as much of an immediate effect, even if it means the scaling is going to come a little bit quicker. Stun lands.
Mid-turret's gonna go down here. We'll see if they get a kill for it. Ziggy is here to answer. Puts the knock up on
Nice
Ziggy.
cast.
good
Down.
ult by the
Good
captain.
castle. See if they can get another kill on the Sejuani as well.
They are behind the queue. That is
Yeah.
yeah, Todd the Destroyer up and rolling for sure. That's probably going to be a Roa. Relative. Oh, actually, not that early.
And some converted kills in the mid lane does mean First Dragon's gonna go over to Banditos. Pulling out of the
See if
pit,
it was
but
a Mountain
have to believe it.
So,
well, it looks like the bottom lane might be setting up to try to contest.
MF
Ooh,
tried for
that was
steal.
close.
This is close.
That was close.
If she had ulted just a little bit sooner, she might have stolen that.
Didn't quite get there. Too close, though.
Good damage on the double up.
But her having no mana and no ult means this bottom turret could go down right here.
Although, Nautilus has been a wave clear than people give credit
That's
for,
fair,
but
that's fair.
doesn't.
And Sesh is on her way down too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Con. You might be able to spot this. It didn't look like he's leveling up the. Was it the? I think it's the W that is the erupt on the sides, like the.
Riptide is the
Riptide.
Riptide.
It's E. Okay, yeah. It didn't look like he had more than.
Nope,
Just
he has
look.
1 point in
We
it.
can actually just look because we're spectating. He has 1 point in and 4 points in Q. Okay.
Wow, 4 points in Q is not. I mean, I don't know how other people play Nautilus. I top lane Nautilus levels up Riptide first.
Q's a
definitely.
one and done skill.
But yeah,
for
that's what I
Nautilus
feel
in
like.
almost all lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't boost really damage, and I don't think it does a whole lot for its cooldown. It's not like
It
too
lowers
much
the
for
cooldown
Bloodstream.
slightly, I think, but not enough to really make a difference.
Yeah, it's
Ziggs is
not like
doing
a
Ziggs
thrush for
things though.
Blitz.
They've got 2 turrets just from Ziggs.
The gold, still a gold advantage for.
Yeah, they're still winning in CS. Actually, all lanes.
The,
Monte Carlo recovering pretty well from the early jungle aggression from Ziggy.
The question is, like, would you rather have the money on the carries or the tanks? Now, ultimately, money on the carries only matters if they're not. Oh my god, that double up damage! No Yomu's and BF, so Ziggy's Rek'Sai is gonna find all of this. Looking to smites on the MF, flash knockup, trades a flash again. So all risk gonna be without his flash. Does have ultimate.
Looks like they might be looking for a re-engage here with Ziggs coming down.
Sun comes out.
I think that was the
Not
time
duck.
to go. After the Taric Stun had been used, Ziggs should have continued coming down and they could have re-engaged the fight.
Well, what do you hit now to see the gold on the difference?
X.
Good damage out from the MF.
The Sivir ults, follows the Taric ult.
Oh, that's
Bad mount. Misfortune ult.
A lot of.
But they're still getting good damage out here. They could still take this
Another
fight.
double stun. Ziggs ult's coming in.
Big ult.
A lot of damage coming out. Really close fight here.
Oh,
Super Chris lands
he's got the
another
TP's
kill.
coming down too.
Florida killer coming in. Here's Kled. In no man's land. Has the flash. Might go
Fred
down
might be able
anyway.
to get out.
He's gonna flash
He
out.
should be fine.
Wow. So support Misfortune doing a lot of work. It was really, really great Tarek ult too. Sivir didn't have a lot of mana going into that fight, like after the first like disengage. I have to think if Sivir had mana for W's and more Qs, that fight would have gone differently. But low mana and just like Yordles are able to turn that in. What was that? A 2-for-1 plus a lot of summoners. 3-for-1. They got Ziggy too, right? Yeah.
I think Ziggy's trying to do too much at once. Like, he's trying to win all 3 of his lanes instead of recognizing where his strengths are on his team and trying to build upon those.
Not gonna lie, I did not even see the Herald get taken. I was,
Yep, the Sejuani took it during that bot lane fight. And they're able to get another tower off it, which is good.
Yeah.
So 4 overall.
That's something to think about. Herald Charge plus Ziggs G Satchel is pretty much a dead turret.
Yeah. I do still think, I mean, there's a 6k gold lead right now. I do still think that Banditos have better scaling. So if they can kind of, I mean, it's really, really difficult to slow the game down against this kind of team
Cassiopeia
comp,
is
but-
online right now. and
Yeah,
she
what
can be in a
Banditos
fight.
needs to do is they need to recognize that their strengths are in the Cassiopeia. The Kled is also doing pretty well. They need to get those 2 together and push down towers.
Also, you got to think too. Now that I know what button can see the gold, Nautilus having 4 of the kills has a 2,200 gold lead on Tarek, which means that 2,000 of that lead is just on the support. Which matters.
Yeah, I mean-
having a tanky frontline that can engage is certainly useful, but
But all that really equates to right now is he is half an item up on the Tarek. Like, I mean, he has an upgraded Sightstone, and that's nice and all for stats, but all he really has is that second half of Righteous Glory as an advantage.
Conrathman comments on support Flame Horizon.
It's not Flame Horizon yet. Technically speaking, he's only down 7 CS.
the support Flame Horizon where you kill 100 wards before they kill any.
I wish I had that stat in some spectator to see how many wards, but Tarek has 1, so.
Wow. Just the threat of the knockup does get the flash out of Canther. That's actually a big deal. When you have Kled and there's no combat summoner, just the teleport on Canthar's Ziggs, Kled ult. Oh, dodges the mess. Man,
Good
not
Tarek
quite.
ult here,
God,
though.
that wombo.
Yeah.
So
Good
as-
Tarek ult, but not trusting the Tarek ult because all of them step out of the MF ultimate as they've got a Tarek ult.
No, Banditos had already blown pretty much all their ults before that fight could even start. So the disengage, I think, was the right choice.
Yeah.
They're gonna give up a drag for this for sure, but they might pick
They
up
might
the
be able
20
to get
here.
the Sejuani, no.
just barely does.
Sun just misses.
I actually think. All right, so Todd opts not to recall. I actually think if Banditos stood in here, it looked like they were really low. But you got to remember, so much of the damage from the Yordles.
Kled might get a tower out of this though, which is gonna help the gold lead
Looks
a
like
little
he's
bit.
gonna go down here.
Oh, stumbles out
yeah.
of the Sejuani ultimate. These are not quite
If
Gonna get out?
could get a Sivir ult here.
tries the Sivir ult, does get the Sivir ult.
They
speed
split up.
boost.
He might be able to do something here.
Oh,
Good
his
flash.
Sej
Oh,
back,
and Sejuani
so-
gets the back finish, which means Ziggy's probably out of there.
So they got a tower and only lost Infernal Drake.
You know, oftentimes I think that like using your flash there is a waste, but he's actually gonna get out of this, which is pretty wild.
And he does the right thing too. A lot of people will go up and then get hit by the window there.
Oh,
but
is he gonna end up
Gonna
dying
get out?
anyway? No,
That's
not
at
like
the
this.
end.
Not like this, Ziggy. No, he's still running. Still buying time. The wild goose chase
gets the exalt,
continues.
gets the
Is
exhaust.
he gonna get the execute off of this?
Who guys be looking for? He still has another
He's
like
got, like,
8
3
seconds on
still.
it.
Yeah, I mean, Sedge would have found him regardless. Good thought, but
He wastes a
also-
lot of
He did
time.
waste a
it's
lot
also
of
a
time there,
lot
though.
easier said than done. Like feeling that execute timer when you're like you got
Oh,
someone
yeah,
breathing
I
down your
always-
neck, you
I
don't
always
know.
cut it.
Yeah. So during all of that,
Here it is,
Baron
start.
started.
Dark Baron.
Man.
Ziggy's dead for another 12 seconds.
Yeah.
No.
And Sivir is in the
You know,
bot lane too.
But it is still early, and they are taking a decent amount of damage here.
Yeah, I have to believe that.
Luckily, they have
Banditos
3
can fight
tanks,
this. I mean, Cassiopeia could do some work here if she gets in there.
Yeah.
But Nautilus Ultimate makes it hard for her to get in there.
It's kind of awkward having Kled on the flank. Not that far. Castle's gonna whiff.
They're still on it,
So low, I have
That,
to.
they
got
need
it.
to engage this.
but
A lot of damage coming out.
Turret Pulse down.
Done.
It's still alive.
Alright, Cassiopeia's down. Kled's down.
Sivir's still up though. A lot of
We're
damage.
looking to clean some of this up, but kind of a messy team fight.
For sure. Ziggs is dead.
It's ultimately a 2 for 2, but the Baron.
2 for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, Cassiopeia with both summoners up still, I have to believe that she could have played that game a little bit more aggressively.
I was gonna comment on something at the back end of that fight where basically, so Floater Killer was trying to zone top the Destroyer. At that point, I mean, you have heal and flash. You don't have ultimate. You can literally just Q and just burn the Mundo. Like, yeah, he's got a ton of magic resist, but you, as Cassiopeia, you're almost better off. It's kind of like Warwick or Olaf, where you're almost better off fighting than running away and like trying to like lifesteal or spell vamp up.
Yeah.
It's not quite like it used to be, but I mean, you're not getting away, and like you're not buying time because no one else is going to be on you anyway because you're, you know, you're on the back end of the fight, just you versus the Mundo, and nothing else is going on. You're better off just trying to put damage down on that, and more than likely you'll be able to spell base tank a lot of the Mundo's damage up.
Yeah. I also think when she uses her ultimate in there, even though it only hit one person, if she flashes in, she takes 2 people with her, I think. So
But yeah, I agree.
maybe that stops the Baron.
A little bit of staggered.
Derek is
spells.
supposed to be going off.
Yeah. I think
A lot
that
of damage
was,
on the MF here.
was a really, really, really good fight for Yordles. I think that was a little bit of the gotta help my teammate that's caught syndrome,
Yeah.
And
and
they've still got the Baron and they're pushing with Mundo
Yeah, I
and
mean,
with the
this
mid
could
lane, this could be
result
2
in 2
inhibitors.
inhibitors easily, yeah.
Cass does have ult. Let's see if she can land anything here.
Honestly, it could turn into the game if they keep giving kills one at a time.
Yeah, they have a big wave top lane right now.
Yeah, there's gonna be 2 inhibitors for sure.
Yeah, they already have Ziggs working on it on the top.
Honestly, with their cooldowns, I mean, the cooldowns are still down, so they have no ults, but everyone's pretty healthy. They could try to press towers.
Well, you gotta hand it to Super Chris. You know, Wappy Floppy has a pretty good game last game on Thrash. Super Chris says, nah, man, I got this.
I got the
I'll play the
5.
hooker and go 5-0-6.
506 Nautilus.
Carry the team to 2 inhibitors.
I mean, that was classic. I mean, you see this mistake so often. Really at all ratings, but like, you gotta know when to cut your losses. Wappy Floppy, you know, way too far out. They kind of staggered, you know, they mismanaged their cooldowns in that escape there. And, you know, just way too far out, and they tried to overcompensate and help their buddy out, and by doing that, you walk right into a misfortune. And if the Tarek's about to die, you're not going to have that Tarek ultimate, so
Totally.
just took way too much damage and rolls 2 inhibitors, and I gotta think, you know, with a commanding lead like this, all they need to do is 4-man bottom and not Samsung this game.
Not Samsung this game. Holy Kappa.
Come on. It was too easy. It's fresh. It's a fresh wound for Samsung fans.
Too soon.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Too soon.
And I'm not gonna rule it out. Again, they still are. Scaling is still in favor
That is true.
of Banditos.
But this time they have. No. There's a lead on a team that's going to fall off a little bit later in the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, outscaling also kind of assumes really, really good play by the carries. I mean, it assumes good play all around, but Todd's gonna have to show me something more on this cast if the Mundo was able to solo with it, you know, with you still having your flash and your heal up. Another
Infernal Drake.
Just what the doctor ordered.
More damage, please. What do you think about the double masks? The Abyssal masks. The Decision and the Nautilus.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's, I mean, I don't agree. It's kind of.
It seems like a
golden
mistake
vision,
on.
Yeah. Maybe not thinking so much about the builds.
A lot of times you you just get this ideal build path in your head and you kind of ignore what the rest of your team is building.
Sejalt whiffs.
Is gonna whiff. Mundo.
But Mundo's gonna just regen all that back up and seems like nothing ever happened. This could be a good fight for Banditos. The MF ult
Oh, that's the combo though. The Ziggs and the MF ult. Holy cow.
And that's that wombo we were talking about that
Even
we thought they were setting
after
up
the
for.
Terrical timed out, finally, the MF Ultimate still put a lot of damage down on Cassie.
It was like the last 4 ticks of the MF almost
Yeah.
killed her.
Yeah.
And that should be game, right?
Ult is enough to finish it off, and that certainly will be game.
I gotta think that's game.
I mean, they have no wave clear left. All they can do is hope for like
Wow.
a fountain dive by all 5 of them.
Intelligently walking minion wave. Yeah, with Ziggs, these things go down entirely too fast. It's gotta be the game.
Yeah.
Feeling like we got a 2-0.
GG.
I mean, well played by
Yordles?
IMYordles. Yeah, by IMYordles. I mean, especially in that game, it looked like things were gonna go bad. I mean, Todd the Destroyer had gotten rolling. You were gonna get outscaled. You had to make things work. All of your gold was onto the support, and it wasn't like a carry support.
Yeah,
Whoa,
the biggest thing that
whoa,
impressed
now
me in
it's
this
scary.
series with Yordles is their mental fortitude. Like both these games, like Monte Carlo was heavily disadvantaged in the early game, and they managed to not tilt themselves out of the game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, especially that first game. He was miles behind in that first game. He was 3 levels down, ended the game 2 levels up in that first game. Yeah, Whoppy Floppy had a pretty good performance in this game, but, I mean, was also kind of the reason they lost this game with that, that overextension in the mid lane.
Yeah, but when you have MF doing almost more damage than the rest of the enemy team combined, there's not much you can do to.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that, by the way, is, I think, the build again on MF. You see how effective all that flat, flat pen plus the black cleaver can be. Had the BF thrown in just for spice, but yeah, they couldn't quite make it work. Couldn't scale to late game this time around, but again, I had my questions after seeing a couple of those team fights. 2-0 for IMYordles. Congratulations to them.
Are we going to try to get
finals.
anyone in for a post-game interview?
We should try to get one of them in for a post-game. Let me see what we can find here. Who do we have? Canthor, Ulrus, and Monte Carlo Method. Give them a fresh link real quick. Although I think they don't time out. No, they don't. Okay. Well, they don't time out that short of a time frame anyway. Yeah, Canthor, we want a post-game interview. Get in here. We'll see how many of them we can get on. Canthor's chatting in Twitch chat, so he heard me.
Hey.
Hey, there we go. We've already talked to Monte Carlo Method. There he is. Wait for the rest of your squad to get in here. There's Canthor.
Awesome, I'm in.
Is everybody hopping in, or is it just you two?
Probably
That's a
just
good
us
question.
two. I don't think anyone else was on.
Everybody dipped?
Yeah.
We had a couple subs too, so
Okay.
That's
I
true.
think they pieced.
Alright, so congratulations. A 2-0.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sending yourselves to finals. I think, the whole casting crew, wanted to comment on the mental fortitude you guys had, sticking with it, especially that first game. I mean, that first game was looking really, really, really grim for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was an unhappy time.
you guys managed to make it work. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions lined up? Con, do you have anything you want to ask?
Yeah, what was your favorite part of casting?
Favorite part of casting? Well, the clown fiesta.
I know this is supposed to be a post-game interview, but I'm going to turn this around on you.
Hey, I'm down
Yeah,
for it. I'm down for it. My favorite part of casting was seeing these wacky drafts that happen when you have a bunch of, like, not quite one tricks, but, like, people that aren't really playing the meta either.
Yeah.
And then, like, just like the generic clown fiesta that happens. Like, there was a lot of times, especially in the second game, where it's like, okay, like, a fight happens in bot, a fight happens in mid, a fight happens in top, all at the same time.
Yeah.
All at the same time. So it's like, oh,
See,
casting this
with-
is a nightmare.
With the first game, our whole thing was to survive because we knew we outscaled at the end because that is Vigar, so naturally the scaling on that's just infinite.
Yep.
And then the Zac interrupts. So the second game though, the only reason we won is we were able to get the Kled to ult away and not for
Every
engages
Every time.
Yeah.
and our rotations.
Yeah, totally.
We were able to rotate and take like 3 towers in a row. We took top, then immediately rotated back mid. Those rotations gave us probably the best lane pressure we'd have. Probably the season, actually. Best lane pressure we've had this season. Without that,
actually
we would've
almost-
been stunk.
We actually almost really screwed that up there. We like tunneled hard on mid turret.
Yeah.
First blood mid turret. I think we
Oh, I died. Oh, definitely died.
yeah, well I died too. We died like way too many times to that mid turret. That was awful.
I do think
Embarrassing.
I do think there's a certain I mean, you got to respect, and that's a good habit to get into, like when you recognize that you're outscaled like that. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys felt this way personally. I thought you were gonna get outscaled in this game, like if it went late. The cast Sivir 2 core is like super strong.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you guys put your foot on the pedal and drove it home. Like they made a really big mistake with Wobbly Floppy getting caught out in mid lane, and you guys took that to 2 inhibitors. And
Well, even in that last fight, so the advantage, which you can see the level disadvantage on Wappy, but he was having to pop the Taric ult early in engagement, so they weren't able to put any poke or any regular damage on us before popping that Taric ult. So they used that also more as like a disengage, which you could see in the last fight as they started to back up to that inhib tower.
I do think it was I mean I think the idea was good. I mean, the Taric ult against the 2 I mean, much of your damage is from Zig's ult Misfortune ult, that if you can cut like half of that or a quarter, a third of that or whatever whatever it may be. I think like in practice it was, not in practice it didn't quite work out. I mean, in a couple of those fights it did, but in theory it's a good idea. It's just really tough. Taric Ultimate's a lot harder than people think.
Oh
You
yeah.
get the timing
Oh,
for
yeah.
it.
I've never successfully, I think, popped a Taric ult.
Yeah, maybe Khan can comment on this more, but like it's a really difficult thing to time.
We've
I
all
also
seen
don't play
Khan's Taric.
Oh god.
Yeah, Khan doesn't comment on Taric ults. Other people can do it, and that's fine, but
So
too hard.
did you guys have? I mean, the draft obviously changed a fair amount going into game 2. Was there? What was the game plan going into that?
Honestly, it was like once he went, because we first picked Ziggs, I believe. I don't
Yeah,
know if
we
he
did.
went Mundo. Yeah, so once we got our damages decided, we were like, okay, well, who's the people who can just sit and take everything to the face? So naturally, Nautilus for pulls. Mundo can literally just ult and hover. And Sej with the ult also. So we had so many engages to protect me and MF. I mean, we have a 2-0 MF, which, not dying bot lane is phenomenal for us. But we just had such protection on our damages that we just sat back and waited for the Taric ult to end. And then that's when I always popped my ult. MF engaged to pop the Taric ult, and then I'd go in and kind of do a little sweep at the end.
I will say the Ziggs pick kind of surprised me a little bit. Is that something that you've been playing, or was that more of a takeaway?
Ziggs is one of my mains from last season.
Okay.
And it was another takeaway. Without Vigar, I wanted someone who could. I wanted a little bit more tower pressure actually. So I ended up going Ziggs because I think the first game, we were down towers early, and I wanted to switch that narrative to see if we can have them playing from behind. Because we took like the first 3 towers, and from there, that kind of gold bump was a good boost for us, where we could back and all have a nice little pretty penny to work with.
I do think I mean, especially in like mid level, honestly, like low to mid level, like team play like this, Ziggs is so powerful because a lot of the reasons he gets punished just don't come up. Like a lot of the champions that are really exceptionally good against him just don't come up in these kind of settings a lot for whatever reason. Just not a lot of assassin play. So it's really easy, and a lot of like the control mages that are good against him, people maybe aren't familiar with the matchup or don't know it. So he's like a relatively safe pick because that threat isn't there. And when that champion's great if it's able to get through lane for free. So you kind of saw that this game. I do like the Misfortune Ziggs combination too, but we were kind of, on the desk, we were kind of like discussing before this game after the draft was completed. You have the engage from the Nautilus and the Sejuani, but we were kind of wondering, like, we know the idea to have a tank in the top lane, but we were wondering if there was like something different you could have picked. Maybe it was like Cho'Gath or
Well, it was going to be Nasus.
Yeah, it was going to be Nasus, and they last banned Nasus,
Yeah.
so we were like, well, that's not fun, because that's his main. That was FLA Killer's main.
Yeah, he's not actually a top lane main.
Yeah, we had a really tough time tracking bans and what was targeted who because we don't know who plays what. So we were just like, oh, all right, I guess Kale ban. All right, somebody plays Kale, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, Matt Brew, towards the last like 4 minutes of that last game, his connection kept going in and out.
Yeah.
So he was like, towards the end, as we were ending, he was like, I can't do a second game. You guys are gonna have to find a sub. My internet always craps out around this time. So we were like, okay, let's see what we can do. He was like, Nasus. We're like, lock it in. Let's do Nasus. We'll do it as a last pick, so it doesn't get countered. And then, of course, that next second round of banning, there goes the Nasus.
Hey, Tube, I don't know if you had any questions. I'm gonna field some from Twitch chat, but you can take.
No, a lot of good questions already.
I think you guys did a really good job recognizing your win conditions, especially in the first game. Like the first game, you guys knew it's like, okay, all we gotta do is chill. All we gotta do is chill. All we gotta do is chill. There was a couple times where you like kind of fell into the chaos of the game a little bit, and I think you could have been a little more disciplined. But that first game was a good exercise in recognizing your win conditions and playing to them like you did. I even liked, like after you guys took the inhib, like you reasonably could have maybe gone for the Nexus, like the end, but you took the one tower, took the dragon afterwards, like played it clean because you didn't have to push, right?
Right.
I know we were kind of going back and forth during that game about how. What was it? Mare was commenting on it. Was like a dragon fight, and we thought maybe they could have. Oh no, they took Elder, and like didn't take like you didn't follow up on the fight afterwards when they were all like half health, and we were kind of wondering like, oh they
Wait,
definitely
we took Elder, right?
Yeah. I was like you definitely could have just like aced that or like killed 4 people, but you guys like took what you had and backed off, which was. You could argue disciplined, or you could argue.
At that time, there was we switched decision making. So when we took Elder, we backed off because we had Baron and Elder, I believe, at the time. Or did we go? No, we went Elder then.
Baron was right after it. We had to steal Elder.
Yeah.
We started like after we killed Elder, we all started to back, and we were like, wait, let's just push mid. We've got advantage here. And after we got a little push, we were able to go up and take the Baron. But yeah, our initial plan was like, well, let's just back off. Let's be safe. Then in the middle of that, because I think our Leona ended up backing, and we were like, no, everyone go mid. Let's just get a good push so we can get lane pressure and pop up the Baron.
Yeah, I think people sometimes get a little bit too timid in situations like that. And I mean, it's you just got an Elder Drake. You had like a 2 Drake Elder Drake, and they were all like half health. I was like, oh, you definitely could. But I completely understand like the whole philosophical idea of like playing to your win conditions. Like you don't have to do anything. You're gonna outscale. You're gonna win. You don't have to do anything unless they're forcing you to, and they weren't forcing you to anything other than like the actual fight. So once the dragon's gone, you don't have to do anything. It's just kind of like small advantages you can gain from it.
So I'm gonna admit something here, and that's that. Right after, it was an E-in and then spam smite on the dragon, and hope you take it. And so once it was taken, I wasn't really in the mentality of okay, let's fight.
You were like, I
gotta
get out.
No, the whole time I was just like, I don't want them to get this. I don't want them to get this. And once that was done, I was like, okay, what's next? And what's next was not go ham. I had just finished going ham, and I was ready to kind of take stock of what was around.
Yeah, we were processing. That's the best way to phrase it. We were like, oh crap,
yeah,
we got Elder. That's nice.
Because I was not expecting that fight to go that way. I fully went in expecting to die.
So Minor looks like
Yeah, Minor was asking, who do you think will win finals? You guys get against what disadvantage? Well, have they played their match yet?
that's what I was wondering. I didn't know if they had. I hadn't heard any announcement or seen any streams on it.
Because chat's making it seem like disadvantage leaguers is it, but I don't really know for sure, so I don't want to
I don't want to
spread
have your
false
matches versus
information.
them gone this season?
We may have forfeited because we didn't have enough people. You know, it's one of those things. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think.
Can't
Let's
remember
see.
which game that was.
Can we delay? I need a sub. Yeah, no. I think the last time we forfeited, we actually had to forfeit.
Oh, so they don't have any game
So
themes
I-
specifically them versus you. So this is gonna be fresh.
Yeah,
But me, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys the people you're gonna look for is me and Idacles because I'm gonna go after Idacles no matter
Oh
what.
man, let the trash
He not-
talking
coming
begin.
out.
He's my guy. Go after.
Idacles,
I
he's
gotta
coming
bash him
for
every
you.
game.
He's coming for you. Well, great job on the 2-0 tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in, or thanks for coming in pre-game Monte Carlo, hopped in. That was just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. I didn't want to, because I know
Sure, it's fun.
people like seeing that kind of thing. And thanks for hanging post-game for a little bit.
Yeah, the biggest thing people need to take away from these games is that you're never really out of the game. You need to recognize, like, you guys did a really good job recognizing your win conditions and playing.
Kind of stuff we like.
Well, thank you guys for having us on.
Yeah,
I'm
no
gonna
problem.
hop out of here.
Thank you for the fun games to watch. Everybody have a good night. I think we're going to wrap the stream up there. Good games. Good luck in finals. Maybe we'll try to... we'll have to see if we can find time to cast the finals. That'd be fun. And
That'd be
kinda
awesome.
Make,
Kinda,
make
yeah.
this a thing.
You guys have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Monte Carlo method and Canthor, right? Yeah, Canthor from the victorious. What team was it? IMYordles.
Yordles?
I got rid of these signs, so that's the 2-0. I think that's gonna be it for us, right, guys?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to contribute?
Nope.
Con might already be asleep.
I
calling you out.
enjoyed the
Fantastic.
series tonight. It's a good,
And
solid series.
with that, we'll let Tuba play us out with some smooth jazz on his tuba.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
it's all on the other side of the room now. Oh wait.
Oh my god, here we go.
I can't play the tuba because it's gonna bother my neighbors too
Yeah,
much.
I was gonna say it's gonna be too loud. I could find some tuba
Hold on,
clips. Let me
hold on,
see.
hold on.
Let me find some Hey Baby on tuba, there we go.
You mean your neighbors don't like a loud brass instrument?
Yo,
at
by the
11:30 at
way,
night?
legit, so you know how that's like a thing, right? That's like a bando thing. The tubas play Hey Baby.
Uh-huh.
So I searched Hey Baby Tuba on YouTube, and my alma mater is the first video.
What is that, like Rutgers or something?
No, Westchester. This is the first thing that popped up. Straight up. I was there when this happened. I am looking off to the right
Waiting
somewhere.
for your stream to catch up. See what you're talking about.
Oh no, well it's not gonna show the video. I said
Oh, you're just
Luncheon methods.
we at the request of my tuba teacher would play the melody from Ride of the Valkyries.
nice.
But each of us would play a half step apart from each other.
Oh
so it'd
my
be like,
god.
It'd be like,
This is the most discordant,
chord
miserable.
cluster Ride of the Valkyries. It was good.
Oh man. Bum bum ba-dum bum.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
It's a
man.
beautiful sight.
That was funny.
Shawty, who's casting the other series?
Who's casting the other series? I didn't
Yeah.
pick anything out. We should just do it at some point.
Huh?
We should just. They're gonna send me the VODs. So
So
the
no
only
one's
problem
casting
with
this one right now?
wait the other series.
Yeah, it's the two teams from the division below us, the other two teams.
Oh,
No,
Supernova.
Supernova. No, I actually put in the Slack that I would if they want to send me the VODs and stuff like that, I'll do like a vodcast of it.
Man, you're missing out on such a clutch
All right,
series.
guys, I'm gonna dip out.
All right, later.
Good cast.
Yeah, later.
Is it going on right
Magic.
now, Con?
Yeah, it is. I tuned into it after with Witness.
I was gonna say if they
When he told me that York and J4 were in the same game, I just had to tune in. J4 support. Sorry, my bad. J4 support.
Wait, Jarvan support? What?
It's not feeding. I disagree with the build, but it's not feeding. I'm more of a Tank Jarvan guy myself.
Wow, a lot of trash talk going on in the Twitch chat right now.
Twitch chat is supposed to have trash talk. Trash talk, memes, and uneducated plebs.
There's not enough copy pasta, and my Nightbot puts an end to that.
Oh, wait. Oh, never mind.
What?
So Nightbot put an end to that. Never mind. I was gonna say I can fix the no copy pastas.
Minor Threat and Kyo are trash talking each other. I'm looking forward to this. Kyo's gonna what's his name? Minor Threat's gonna be in Jersey next week, so we might go grab a beer. He's gonna be like probably 20 minutes away from me.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. I got jury duty next week. Ugh.
I've never had jury duty.
I've had to go a few times, but I usually get just like dismissed the night before. But I've gone twice and got dismissed in the first round, and then I once got called upstairs like for the second round of things and got dismissed there, and that took like forever. I hope that never happens again. I would rather be a part at that point. I'd rather just actually be part of a case. Like I'd rather actually be on a jury, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, let me turn this stream off. It's been fun.
Bye, stream.